o'clock, a couple hours left in what has been just an absolutely wild afternoon ever since we got to the bottom coming off the CPI number this morning, just straight to the upside so far ever since. I want to talk about a whole bunch of things here, but I'll give you a look at where we're at to kick off the afternoon session here. 2.5 for the S&P right now, almost 3% still for the Dow. Unbelievable move off the lows from this morning. 2.1 for the NASDAQ, 2.2% here in Toronto. Also, really nice rebound off the lows from this morning. 2.2, 2.5 for crude oil, Bitcoin and Ethereum also to the downside. We apologize in advance. You may or may not hear a fire alarm throughout the afternoon. They're doing some testing once again this afternoon, but never fear, we are back to take you through what has been just a wild, wild day, as we said, with everything making a 180 at one point this morning and just heading north ever since. Here's a look at the S&P 500 currently. A very, very green board to show you the entire thing in positive territory currently outside of Etsy down here, and looks like Match Group still down about 3.5%. But basically the rest of the market is positive at this point. Just an amazing move off the lows. As we mentioned throughout the midday there, it is the banks still leading the way here. Individual names, just huge moves top to bottom, or bottom to top, I guess I should say. JP Morgan, 5.5% right now to the upside today. It was down more than 2% at one point. WFC, 4.8% to the upside again, down more than 2% at one point. Tech shares, really nice day for the NASDAQ in general. We'll talk about that coming up. But individual tech names, software names are leading right now. Semiconductors and hardware equipment makers still in positive territory as well. This group up here, I want to mention huge moves in some of the pharmaceutical names. Almost 7% for Biogen. Moderna, another 3.5% to the upside. Here's the ABMD as well, the hardware or healthcare equipment makers, almost 5.5% as well. Great day for communication stocks, real estate, consumer, as I said, goes on and on. Even oil. Crazy move off the lows this morning for oil as well, about 2.5% back to the upside. So it's a buy everything kind of a day, including Domino's apparently up 10% off of earnings. Hope your afternoon is going well. What a day it has been. We'll recap some of the opportunities that we were discussing in the pre-market this morning. I mean, it was all about the market, obviously, with CPI coming through and the move that we saw, whether you're looking at ETFs, whether you're looking at individual names. I mean, the opportunities were endless. So let's jump right into things here. Sean's going to lead the way this afternoon with a look at one of his trades from this morning.
Hey, it's a CPI kind of trade day here, and Brendan is 100% right. The opportunities were literally endless. You can sort of throw a dart, and most charts would look like this, but we did throw multiple darts at AMD today, and I just want to bring to everyone's attention, we had this written down here, 56 long, right? Back in our sticky note. Make sure you're following me at TraderTV Sean, and you grab these sticky notes right there, 56 long, and then watch out for 58.50 top. I mean, I didn't know this was going to happen here today. Look what happens early. This is CPI. See ya, 8.2 versus 8.1. Made the market go down that far, huh? So nice little move to the downside right there. But look what we determined, 10.5. 10,500 there on the NASDAQ. As this was happening, all I was talking about right there was let's see what happens at 10.5. If we break it, it is see you later. And this little number, you can put a minus sign into it and add a couple percentage points. I thought we were going to go down, down, down. The problem was it never broke. So what did we do? Let's go over to the trade of the day. Remember, we were already looking at AMD. I mean, even right now, we have a $6 winner on Netflix. We had, I think it was a $7 or $8 winner, Apple, so on and so forth. But the reason why I choose AMD today is quite simple. There's the break. Once AMD broke below 55, we hit that short. And then we got out. A bunch of outs down here. Why did we get out so many? Well, it's quite simple for me, right? Once 10.5 was not breaking, we put a stop order back in for like the last 20 or 30%, simply stating that if 10.5 doesn't hold and we go back up to the upside, then we wanted to get out. So first trade, we make a bunch of money shorting AMD through that 55 level. Not a bunch of money, but enough. Then we basically wait. This little line right there is 56. Why did we like 56, you might say? Well, if you look here, this is a 20-minute chart going past the last 3 or 4 days. Obviously, some big drops down, and then look where we stopped. All this is 56, right? So we didn't go under 56 until today, and for good reason. I mean, when the CPI comes out and it's not what people are expecting, it's actually worse, then yeah, you are going to get this drop down. But we still have to respect some of our key levels. So again, we went short early in case the market is a short today, get out. Then let's now analyze where we really make the money here today. So then all of a sudden it breaks back above 56. Bounced around a little bit, broke there, came back down, then bounces around. So at this point I was like, you know what? I could take 56, or let's just wait till we get a little higher. So the first couple bids there is 56.20, so on and so forth. Then we take a break of the 200. That wasn't the 200 period then. I believe that might have been, I don't know what that was there, why we take that break. 56.50 upside again. And the reason why is because we have this bottom now of 56 flat. So if we go long, we have an out. I'm not holding it all the way back down here. We go long numerous times because we have that sort of confidence that there's going to be a bottom there. And then look what happens. Then it's just upside moves from there, right? Get in, get in. The reason why this is so key is we really believed in the long. So got it 3 times there, got it back when it pulled back to VWAP to the 200 period, took the longs into play, and then this might look like this isn't a big move, but for me it's pretty good. That's 57.80. Most of these out 57. Most of these are around the 57 mark, so we're only taking like 60, 70 cents. It's not great, but again, we didn't expect this to happen. I actually, when the show ended, I just went for a walk, came back, and Prad's like, the market is green. I'm like, huh? I thought he was trolling me, but look at this move all the way back up to the upside. We let this happen and we don't even get out. Then we're like, wait a second, that's 60 bucks. We're long here at 56. So boom, boom, comes back, hits the 50 period again. When AMD makes that next move back up, we get out about 59.90 for a big, big trade. That's our last 10 or 15%. Does retrace back, could have been long again there off of VWAP. Now you're kind of hovering around, not doing too much. I don't know what's going to happen this afternoon, but the reason why this is your trade of the day, very, very simple. And I actually put it out here on Twitter. AMD and Apple are the first 2 names here. Why? Because stay with what you've been trading lately. Understand the levels, understand how stocks move. When you're going to get like a market event like this today on inflation, go over to the names that you're comfortable with. No point in confusing it. All stocks are going to move similar. You could see we have lots of these, man. We have some Google love today, Amazon, Apple, AMD, all the big tech names look very similar. So it's already indicated on there. Means my focus is there. It hits the levels we want. Then it takes 56. Then it's upside. So the rest, as they say, is history. Will the NASDAQ hold this 2% or not? We're going to find out. Join us every single afternoon at 2 p.m. We do this daily. And make sure you hit that QR code. It's Day Trade the World. Start your prop trading today.
We go into the evening, I guess, but yeah, absolutely crazy opportunities today, right across the board for chip makers, for tech stocks. Didn't really matter what you're looking at when the reversal came in. If you are a short-term trader, if you are a trader of any kind, this is your favorite time of year. This is your favorite kind of market. Volatility is here. Got to take advantage while we can. That's the link to the watch list, guys. Chip stocks on that this morning as well. So make sure you grab that every day, and then you come join us at 8:30 in the morning again. Absolutely free, if I didn't mention that. Here we go. I wanted to show you this just to kick things off here this afternoon. These are the Treasury yields. So reversal from negative to positive for equities. That means these are putting in massive reversals as well off of that number this morning. This is the 10-year topped out at 4.08. We're back to 3.93 right now on the 10-year. The 2-year topped out 3.5 or 4.54. We're back to 4.41 right now for the 2-year, coming back in a hurry. Speaking of coming back in, dollar right now is at day lows after taking out recent highs on that number this morning, getting back to almost 114 for the DXY. Again, day lows coming into play right now for the US dollar. Let's jump into a few things that are moving around this afternoon. Everyone caught this about midday. Netflix, yeah, the ad-supported plan and features coming to your Netflix TV as soon as November 3rd, if you're in the US, if you missed that today. So $7 a month, $6.99 in the US, November 3rd, kickoff date. Business Insider then, guys, comes out with basically a leaked advertising deck that suggested Disney Plus is also on the way very shortly. They actually said December 1st. For $8 a month. So Disney had a move as well back through 95. That was the initial move higher, if we could there, Lucas, thank you, through 95 on that spike off that news as well. It conveniently happened, my point here, it conveniently happened about the same time. So Netflix comes out first, and then Disney, quote unquote, leaked $8 a month for theirs.
So look, it's obviously an opportunity for them to get another revenue stream there. But the market's trying to make a top here, and I just kind of want to get into one thing. You'll see me in UVXY, and you mentioned yields. I just want to pull up TLT because this bears monitoring. We actually just had a big break to the upside on Treasury. So remember, like if TLT goes up, then essentially you have yields going the other direction. But it's now pulled back a little bit. So pulling back off of those highs the entire time this morning, or pretty much all morning and afternoon, volatility has been sitting at the same level. And even as we've made this huge run back to the upside, it is just chilling out on the bottom. And I've been sitting in this long the whole time saying, if we're just keep going higher, any slight pullback, volatility's got to jump. And this last little pullback, that move I just saw in TLT, the market getting up that 2%, it's got me into a bit of reversal. That's why I'm in a Zoom short and a UVXY long. I wish I could say I was actually not here. I had gotten up to shoot a nice little fun video when Netflix happened. So I know you'll be able to take the trade over. I came back and made a scalp trade after the news came out. So you see the big spike here. I just came in and scalped a buck out of it because I saw the headline after the fact. But I know you had it as it dropped there, Sean.
Yeah, as the news, yeah, I mean, I tweeted it out as well. If there's any other reasons here to be long on our Twitter accounts, I think you can do that right here. We tweeted it out that dropped through right there, Netflix, about an hour ago. I mean, yeah, there was lots of opportunities to get longer. I mean, right now, I hit it a bit. I didn't hit it right away, but as soon as it broke through 225, I did hit it. And we are still long. I mean, whether or not you've scalped it out or you're still in this trade, it's a good one. It's another $6 winner. So shout out to you, Mikey Creehan. If you're in the show right now, you're like, well, Sean took $6 on Apple. Let's see if he could do it again. There it is right there. 6+ change right now on Netflix. I mean, we went in, we took $1 the first one, then we took $1.75 on maybe even more than that on that next piece. And now it just keeps on going. I have no intention to get out of this name. I mean, if we break the 50 period, it's just been going straight up, then we can do that. That's a break back down below 2. I mean, that 50 period is kind of close, to be honest with you. 229, I don't know. I guess we can get out if that does happen. We just had some beautiful shorts on JP Morgan. We still have those in as well. But I like Netflix here for that move today. We're having just an unbelievable day. If we didn't have a keystroke error, it would be even better. But right now, we've really hit this, and this is just another name that we put into our pipe and smoke here again today. The Apple trade, look at this. Here it is right here. Apple 135, out 141. That's two $6 winners today. Not on the full amount of shares, that's for sure. I feel like this is a scalper's dream, and we've made bank on that. Would have loved to have held everything. Then we could have, you know, like we had mentioned here, you graduate, you do all these big damage on big days like that was a good one for Apple all the way to the upside as well. We're going to go over this. I can show you Apple, Google. I mean, just for right now, we're $4 in the money on the Google trade as well. This 95 long, it's at 99 right now. We are doing the Toronto Fire Department is doing fire alarm tests in the building. So you will hear that every once in a while, but stay with us. The only thing on fire right here today are the trades. But oh, Lucas, I meant to tell you that's the prop one, and it's an alarm. So, okay, you know about that. Okay. All right, Brendo, I don't know. We're going to figure out what to do with this Netflix trade. Right now, $6 in the money. Probably get out if it takes the 50 period. I think that makes the most sense.
Right on cue here, guys. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon coming out, making some comments right now about the overall economy and this inflation problem. Here's a look at said comments. Saying inflation to curb consumer spending in 9 months. They expect the Fed to go higher than what they're saying. So 4 to 4.5. Again, this is JP Morgan from Jamie Dimon, I should say, from JP Morgan, saying they expect the Fed to go higher than what they originally said there. As far as their target rate, the bank's sitting at 1.2 trillion in cash. So anyways, here's JP Morgan up 5.5% on the day, guys. Banks leading the way right from the get-go today.
5.5 for JP. Morgan Stanley's only up 3.5, and none of what happened today is probably going to have too much of an effect on some of the issues when it comes to new issues and investment banking, that side of it. So I still lean on this I like the $80 level. It hasn't really gotten to $80. I think as earnings start to come through, this is going to be a pretty big pivot area for it. If we do churn up higher, I am looking for some opportunities at tops. I mean, as long as I keep looking at it, as long as TLT doesn't make that break and UVXY sits where it is and the market's on those highs, then I will be looking for some shorts off the top. It's just one of those things. We never got to the 80 level on Morgan Stanley. That was the one I kind of liked because I wanted something relatively weak. Just a quick update because I did want to get to these. I don't trade UVXY very often, but I'm starting to get out the top end of the range. And if it just sits here in the bottom, I'm just going to go long in front of 55s, get some out every time it pops into 70s. And if it gets to 13, I'm going to have orders all the way out. But I'm going to just try and rinse and repeat this trade. Because if we break back out and this market slides down, I want this vol long on UVXY. And Zoom, and I want to shout out some people in the chat that were talking about Zoom earlier. It was relatively weak. The market was taking highs. It was off lower highs. I did try a tight stop short at the bottom. Then it goes to the top. It has not broken out from the CPI range. That's why I like it. We're not going to talk about Zoom here. That's why in our rundown, that's why I want to go over it. But I just got another leg out in front of VWAP. Upward trend. You get a double top. I like to short it into VWAP. It's the same setup over and over again. If we see 80 on Morgan Stanley, that would be the level I like to short. If they have great earnings, and the earnings of the banks are coming starting tomorrow, then that's a great level to break out from as well on a higher time frame. But for the day trade today, I'm kind of looking for a few tops on some of the weaker names, relatively weaker names.
All right, guys. Yeah. Thanks for joining. And this is good. No, Neil went and grabbed the bull. So I
didn't even notice they took it.
I threw it over to Pratt.
Oh, you gave it to him. Okay.
There, just like I told him to take off his shirt when I saw him this morning. Do you
want that? Though?
No, I mean, I don't want him to take off his shirt, but we did talk about that. Look, we're talking about the banks. I shorted in front of 110. We could have taken profit down there at 109. We didn't. We should have. I was just hoping, honestly, that we could get a retracement back to this 200 period. So we're in the money 30 cents on this name. You can see where we're short against 110. It's like, what are we short? We're short 70, so it's like 30 cents worth of risk back up to the upside. So now I've sort of just but we're going to get out here in the 30s if it does come back down. I mean, I'd hate for it to retrace back up, and then we take an L on a piece. So let's get out a half right now. It's back down to the 50 period. If I did it the first time, we would have got out already, like around right here, 40, 41. Let's see if we can get out down here around 30. If that does print, then we'll take a piece out here of JP Morgan. I just think that this move today has just been a monstrous one, man. From 101 bottom this morning, straight up $9. That's 8% off the open for JP Morgan. Normally banks, don't move like that. We do have earnings coming for these guys. Plus you got Jamie Dimon speaking. So, I do think that there's an opportunity here for this name to fall down a little bit. So we do want to hold something for it. But since banks are on there, we'll talk about it as we take, there we go. As we get a fill there at 30, now it's ripping down through. We get a fill there at 32. And that's just another one, man. So we'll just, I don't know. We'll flush it down. Let's flush down JP Morgan now and see how low we can go. Maybe we do get these prints that we're waiting for. We're not, that's the only name that we're short. We're $4 in the money on Google. And then right now, Netflix is $6. But I am looking, see, this 50 period keeps on inching up. So now it's 229.50. So now I got to keep adjusting my order. So I'm going to do that. We could put, I don't want to put a trail because this is not the time where you put trails on because this math is going to keep changing. Like as this gets all the way up there to 232, I don't want to get out if it drops 50 cents. I want to get out if it takes out this period, right? So 229.50, now readjusted order means we can at minimum take $4.50 on this Netflix trade. We've had a couple bangers here today that, someone in the chat again said this is like a day trader's dream. I honestly cannot disagree with you. Yesterday was really bad, the market, I felt like. And then today, the trading gods have rewarded us with this kind of movement.
Just reading some more. Jamie Dimon comments here. Says crypto can be used for fraud or in decentralized Ponzi schemes. So they're talking about crypto right now. Just be aware. Jamie Dimon's still talking about a few things, including the market. I'm just noticing that other network, guys, is also talking about Netflix right now. So just be aware. We could get some movement off of CNBC type of mention for Netflix right now. Basic with ads is the quote unquote name right now. So Netflix Basic with ads. Again, November 3rd if you're in the US. Let's touch on DWAC here because DWAC coming in a hurry right now. Back to the downside. If you missed it this morning, True Social going to be available on Google's Play Store now as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, this morning when we were talking about, we knew at 8:30 everything was going to come down to CPI. So pretty much across the board, you were just trading like tech stocks. And there were two things on my radar. One of them was that Lay's stock, and then DWAC was the other one. And sure, there was a 20 break. 20 was a big level. I wanted to be fading ultimately. I paid for the shorts because I knew I wanted to fade a move. But it was trading at $17. So I didn't, like, when a stock is at $17, I don't have a stop order to go long 15% higher. And I have some reasons why I don't like having stop breaks 10% away from a stock. By the time it travels that far, you want to make a different decision because you don't know what it looks like as it's going into that level. So I didn't have a 20 breakout. I did short twice. I shorted the first initial pop off the pre-market level. That was probably not a good idea. But if you waited for it to fail the 20 break and it got all the way up to 21, this wick top, after it halted to the upside at 21.5, opened up, failed the high, came back below 21, and then it just capitulated. After I got the scalp to 20 even, I simply said, at this point, I want to give it to 18 bucks. It went to $18. It's now lower. And the reason for that is, this is what the chart of DWAC looks like. The days of it giving these big runs to the upside have been done since February. It just feels like it's gravitating back toward that 10 bucks. The deal isn't even done on the SPAC. So every single one of these big pops is giving you a fade opportunity, and I wanted to make sure that's what I was looking for. 15 is going to be a monster level for this. Every single time it's gotten down there, it's got a great consolidation. So any longs got to be off that 15 level if you're trading it. When it breaks eventually, I think you can go 15 to 10. You probably scoop up a bunch of it at $10 because you get a bounce off those SPAC prices every single time. But there weren't a heck of a lot of things that weren't tech-related or market-related that you're looking at this morning. DWAC was one of the few.
Yeah, again, it sucks because I didn't put the order out to break 20. We did have 20 on our sticky note, and unfortunately, I didn't put it out because of the craziness that was CPI. We should have stuck with that we wouldn't have had this getting in at the very top on the very first halt, and then getting out almost immediately for $1. That was 21.50. Out 20, so $1.50 hit there on DWAC. And even when we were in this position, I said it's a small amount of shares. So if it ripped up, it would be a small amount of shares, and if it went down, it would be a small amount of shares. Just remembering that day that we took like a $100 winner on DWAC, that wasn't going to be today. I mean, there's too much happening for there to be a lot of attention on this name here today. I do think that DWAC is going to be something, as Netflix right now is really starting to go upside right now. I'm with you guys. I don't think that they shouldn't call something basic with ads. That's too basic, if you know what I'm saying. That's not going to get people excited. So I don't like that name. I think that's ridiculous. But right now, DWAC, the point I was getting at here is when we went long there at 21, we got out when it broke 20. Easy level, not to worry about it. It did spike back up. We could have saved ourselves about 50 cents on that spike right there. But again, look at it just fail out. I feel like you got to wait till there's volume back in this name. And for me, it's a no-brainer to stay away for now until there is volume. Oops, not rum. Oops. I need rum because I'm looking at rum bull. We talked about that earlier today as well. Yeah, not rum. Yeah, maybe rum to drink as well. We talked about that early on the show, that once it broke that 10, now it's right back, which is actually surprising to me. But this was a trade that I wonder if anybody had, because remember, when you were at CFVI, there's a $10 bottom because that's the price of the SPAC. So, you get into there once it broke 10. And I talked about this. I should have done it. I didn't pay for shorts anyways, so I wouldn't have been able to.
Free?
Maybe they're free. Maybe
I actually don't even know.
I would assume they're not free. But there's the breakdown on 10 to 930. So that was that's a 7-8% move to the downside before stopping and then making its way all the way back. So I would think this is a short again. But I feel like that first time that it broke is really where you want to get your money in. And meanwhile, there's Netflix, man, 232. I know I see some of you guys on the chat saying that getting greedy here, trying to take more on this. It's right here. This is, I agree, man, right into here. This is a good spot right now for 232. So, we are getting up to that size offer possibly at 232. Let's see what happens. But we've been up here before. If you take 232, then I think you can get to 234. So, there is some more movement here happening on Netflix. Remember, it's only up 5%. I mean, it's a big move up, but it's not that big. We can get a lot higher here on Netflix. So I'm going to hold that. I'm going to see if I can have a few $7, $8 winners here, $6, $7, $8 winners here today on this. And again, it's not it's not about how much you win on the trade. It's like you got to have reasons to get out. And that's why when we started scalping Netflix, our first reason is right here. That's the high, 226. So we get out at like 226.25, and then it bumps back up. And we're like, well, is it going to go through 227? And so I got out another piece. Like when we're in the money here, $2 on the trade, I'm like, I'll take it. And I know a lot of you guys did as well. And then try to hold. So we're actually holding a third right now, which is pretty good. So we'll see if it can take that 232. And again, look, it just keeps on going up. Now my stop is going to be at 230. So let's put that stop order in right now for 230. We just keep bumping it up as the 50 period keeps on respecting that bottom.
All right, we put right on the morning watch list this morning, look to leaders to lead on days when the market can be a little bit volatile and when there's overall market moves happening. And sure enough, here is Apple, guys, just having a look up more than the market, more than the NASDAQ anyways, down tick right now, but nice move anyways. If there were to be a point on a daily chart that you could look for a possible reversal, looking pretty good as far as this candle is concerned.
Well, the other, actually, I should have said this when I jumped into the Zoom short and the UVXY and all that nonsense. Apple 142 has been a big level on the 15-minute. But it actually, I did have Apple earlier, but it wasn't the one I had the most conviction in for the long. And if you're watching the morning show, that was unequivocally Intel. And it had everything to do with one simple fact, that yes, the market bottom. Anything you had at the bottom in tech was going to be a good long. It just ended up that I had a reason for Intel. It might not have mattered. It would have probably gone anyways. But when 830 hit and we had that capitulation flush to the downside, Intel was one of the few stocks that I could find that maybe it's because it's how badly it's been beaten up already. Maybe it's a little bit because of what was going on with TSM, which was easily the first and strongest tech stock to go. So it dragged the semis up. But it never broke the week's low. It had this 2460 bottom. You had the capitulation flush. And once volume stepped back in, look at it hold the line. And everything else was breaking lower, beneath support levels. And this was just holding the bid. Now saying, this is the one I want long, this is the one I want long. It broke the channel, went long when it broke out of the bottom channel at the open. That was a 930 long. And then it broke 25, and I added at 25. And then it dipped to 25 and a quarter after getting to 50s and bought that dip. But then I missed this breakout at 25.60, should have had it, but then bought the dip. The last trade I have here is buying 26s. So sometimes it's coming down, identifying, support was in. The easiest thing about that trade relative to everything else was you know exactly where you're wrong. If it makes a fresh low, then just forget about it. Like it was holding this so well, all it had to do was break through the bottom and I'm out of it. It never did. If you look at the pullback, it's just higher highs the entire way on every single dip. And a lot of tech did that, but sometimes it's just that extra little oomph that you need. This was the one for me on INTC. And if it comes back here to VWAP, it's supported about 25.90. Could be worth a look on a dip. What I see now is an overextended move and a lower high. It does feel like we are trying to pull back in here. So that little bit that I got left, I'm not really seeing much of a reload as much as I like this long.
All right, this is going to be our best day of the month right now, unless we do something crazy here into the close. We just got out of our Netflix. It did break through 230 right there. Now, whether or not it holds that, not sure. The market did pull back, so we just respecting our levels, man. I mean, that's what, like I said, when Arun was here the other day, I was asking him, you know, how do I hold these things? It's like, let the market take you out. So there it is. So the market will take us out right there on the last little piece. I will always stay true to who I am by scalping and then trying to hold that last piece. And on that note, we are $3 in the money. Sorry I can't get Google to go any higher than this. But right now, we are going to get out at the same break. You break through 50 right now. We have some 50 bottoms right there. We'll get out of Google and end that trade for $3 in the money. And then meanwhile, look what else is happening right now. As the bears are out on JP Morgan, we have this short $1. Like, it's just dollars in the money now. This is more than $1 in the money, but dollar in the money now is just kind of like, okay, that's kind of par for the course. So stay tuned for that. We had Intel long yesterday, was absolutely fantastic. But I did put a tweet out earlier. We absolutely, I mean, we're talking about big tech here. I traded AMD, Apple, Microsoft, and Google all to the long side, all right here. I put all the charts up on all the levels that we liked today, and we hit them. And it's just about having confidence, right? I mean, we talked about the trade of the day here being with AMD. Going short early, right? That's early in the day in case the market falls. But then go short and just get out, right? I mean, you got to have that spidey sense. So we got out of that trade, let it rip all the way up, and then we did the damage there. Apple, same thing. Just buy. Like, let it settle down, man. Like we wanted 136, we waited for 136. As soon as 136 came, boom, there's our out right there, 141. We don't have the best outs, but not bad for that. Google, again, this was one that I wasn't even sure about, man. Like we got into this one and just scalped it all out. Some of these scalps are like $1. It just looks like that. These are 95.50s. This is 96 right there, 96.30. And then our out right now, looking to get out of Google for the last little piece if it goes all the way up there. We do have, though, I could have won on this, but this is where greed was not good. Meta, look at this. We were short there, Meta, 130. It went all the way to 128, and I did not cover. So we were $2 in the money on Meta, and I did not cover it. And then it goes all the way back up, and I didn't cover, I was here. It went all the way up to 130.50. Then it dropped back down for $1, so we covered some there before it took out that 130. I thought it was supposed to take out 131, but I guess it took out 130.70, whatever that high was at that time. Now it's back down, but this is another tech name that we are red on. We do have a red mark on today, and it's going to be this Meta trade, even though we were $2 in the money there. But, you know, to be truthful to you guys, we didn't take that profit out, let it roll all the way back up, shorted, out, and then out that last piece right there should still probably be in it, but we are not. Let me guess, Netflix, yeah, bouncing off that 230. Man, what an exciting day. And like Brad said, man, this is exactly why you're trading.
Hey, before we move on, I have to do this every single time I see one of these. I'm just gonna pull up my TraderZ scanner. This is like high of day Momo, like momentum, is only one stock on here. It's like, it's hard for you guys to tell, but it is NUTX, 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 NUTX. It is all NUTX. And I see you guys in the chat talking about this. Brennan has said, and I believe him, of course, he's always right, almost always, there's no real catalyst that we can see here. It's not a big short float or anything like that, but it's made the break of $1. It's gone 2x, essentially. Okay, well, it's about 3 cents away from going 2x to the upside. On the daily, oddly enough, there isn't even obvious resistance at that dollar level. It's more sitting, you know, bag holders are probably in the 140 to 160 range, the last consolidation there was. So in theory, it does have some room to the upside. I'm just kind of at a loss for why it's making this move. I always look at that dollar level for some trades, but it's a pretty clean breakout right now of that $1. It's not really giving any indication that this is a fail spot and resistance is at $1.40. But if we do start churning here, we make a high that's at like this 06 and it never breaks higher, and then it consolidates off that dollar, I just paid for the shorts. I might look for a retracement. But I kind of feel the go zone is maybe even at that 135. Super strong stock. And you know, there's been a few small caps here today, and I don't want to completely ignore them. This one churning to the upside.
A bit of a algo move here on Twitter right now, guys. There was a huge flush on volume on this note. Another letter from the judge, it looks like, in this potential court case. I mean, I just read through it. It doesn't really say a heck of a lot. It just says there's one issue that still may require further resolution, I guess is a good word for it. But anyways, there's a new letter out from the judge. Just be aware. Twitter on a big move to the downside there. I separated Amazon on the board there and left it kind of on its own because, hey, have a look at Amazon. It's kind of on its own today. Still negative on the session here, guys.
Yes, but that probably has more, like some stocks fell more than others, and Amazon, it got to 105 on a 113 break. So it was pretty ugly. I wish I could say I had Amazon shorts. No, but it did come back up. My first thought was it's relatively weaker than everything else. I wanted to short it. So I did, and when it got back to 108 here, it's like crazy how small this move seemed. But that's like $1, 108 into 107, and was taking profit, and then it stopped out. And the second it broke out at 108, I'm like, okay, well, if it holds support at the breakout price, I'm going long. So it was scalp longs off the buck, and then it absolutely, like things got out of hand when you broke this level. Like when it got through 110, it was kind of just at 112 in a few minutes. Like there was, I'm not sure the best way to explain it, but things were levitating to the upside when you started breaking out after 11. Like we had just gotten off the show, and then all of a sudden we're up at this 111. Because I was leaning short on the stock, I just got out of Dodge. I held onto my Intel because I believed in it a heck of a lot more. And then there was even another leg higher up into 113. But if I do short a big tech name, I mean, look, Zoom is a different story. Zoom's a more beat-up stock. I think there's a lot of downside to that if the market goes down. Like, that could be a $50 stock easily. And you could go lower than that if we do see a big retracement in the overall market. Amazon has to contend with that 100 level, but it is the one tech name that I think I want to be looking for some shorts. I just kind of prefer it off the 113 as opposed to $3 away from the high. This market, it chews through these types of moves pretty quickly here. Like, it's insane. There's no chance I thought when I got in the 108 long, I was going to be getting $3 on Amazon and then giving up $4 or $5. It's completely insane. But this is the one that I think you want to look for some opportunity short in. Because it is red, because it had the biggest capitulation at 830, at least that I could see out of the big names.
Yeah, so we just went short Amazon right now. I think, like Brendan was mentioning there, still red on the day. So, you know, worth it to go short here. I'm just going to go against this 50 period. Could maybe won't work, maybe will. 111.75 right now, not a big position. I would like a much bigger position if and when we do break this 111 spot right there. Maybe even 111.40 something, or sorry, 111.30. But again, like, I'm not trying to set the world on fire here. Let's just try to go short. We are long Google, short JP Morgan, which is $1 in the money, and now short Amazon right here for flat. So we'll see if this one comes through right now. I am looking at another short though, possibly, and that's going to be Microsoft. I think that there is an opportunity. This name so strong today, man. I mean, this is another one, by the way, that we could have had, man. We were long at 220 out. Oh yeah, this is another $6 winner. So we do have four $6 winners today. Microsoft right there, 220 up to 226 flat. So it's about 550 right there. So that's another one. And then it just like continued to go up right there. I took an in and out there because I needed to make the position board show up before I went up there for the trade of the day. But yeah, a big trade alert here on Microsoft as well today. I'm looking to see if we break right here. That's the 200 period. I'm not trying to do anything too fancy, man. We're still going to the upside right now. The market is definitely not pulling back at all. I mean, I shouldn't say at all. It pulled back, but these aren't pullbacks, man. If you're going to pull back, you need to for sure break this 11,000, and that's where we just bounced off of, almost 11,000 flat right there for the NASDAQ. So if that doesn't, that's why my Amazon trade is not a big one. We need to see some breaks back down the downside here in this, back down through the downside, yeah, in this market. So getting really excited about it. But again, Microsoft, if we're going to play that short, needs to come back down. I'm always thinking about softy short because of the last couple days when it was just a disaster. And then it's a huge move up for Microsoft. This might be like, I know probably it's not the biggest move today, but if you're going to look at Microsoft, from starting the day here at 220 to go all the way up $16 is a nice move there for softy. Percentage-wise, it's not going to be the biggest, but it was down, and now, okay, there goes Amazon. So Amazon does make that move to 75 now, and we got out, but I still. Again, like, I still want to short. Like, I want to short. That's why that was not a big trade. I still want to short this name.
So here's the thing about the short.
But the thing is like,
guess what just broke the channel to the upside? And this is what I'm like. I know the market's still hanging in the top end of the range, but UVXY just took out that 1275. It's headed to the upside. It's starting to work. It's been sitting on the bottom the whole time. I tend to think you're getting rollovers when this happens. But look, these relationships are not. If it was as simple as UVXY goes up, just hit your short key, that's not really how things work. But if you use something like that as an indicator, that's why I am looking for opportunities to short this. And on that pop, I did try to get 112s on Amazon. It never really got there. I did jump into NutX. I'll get into that in a second. But I got an offer here at 85s on UVXY, and then I'm looking for it to push into VWAP in 13. So I'm going to hold on to that long. Zoom's the other short that I'm sitting in. And again, it's just a different kind of bucket. It's not really a big tech name. You can't really lump it in like that because the quality of the company overall is much different than the ones we're talking about. But the first real, I'd say, pullback off a big level in NutX just happened. So it got to 110 and then gave this drop in there. I mean, this is a 3 minute. If you pop the 1 minute, it might look a little bit different for you. I'm in a bit of a consolidation there off that 5. But I got 105. I'll give it to the high of the day. I think you can get back to 90, then 95. Those are the levels. I might trim some at $1 if there's any size. It's got some pretty good volume on it, but this small cap makes some sense to me. Apple's getting close to that 142 again. So if that rejects, I think that could be another reason why you could have a bit of a pullback. Just weird. We never got to, I don't know what we got to on Amazon. Looks like it 111.80, it seems like. So maybe that's the price instead of 90s.
Yeah, I was just looking at Google here because we still are long and did not get stopped out of our Google. We almost did there at 98.50, but there's still the levels there. The 200 period's not really going up too much with it right now. So okay, so yeah, we're short. I'm gonna go short Amazon until we break 112. And then there's that high 112.20 right there. So we're going to go back into the short there after losing whatever that was, 20 pennies or 30 pennies on that move. And then now we'll just wait. It's a big spike up, but you can see now it's heading back down. So hopefully that will at one point fade out and be able to make that move back down, just like that JP Morgan trade is doing. So the Google trade is fine. We're going to sit in that one and keep on going, man. Yeah, they did defend that breakdown. I don't know if you're talking about Amazon or what, but that 11,000 was really defended if you're talking about the market there today. So yeah, congratulations anybody that's been buying this market in the last
Bitcoin got defended
5
too.
hours. Yeah, Bitcoin's back over 19 right now. So Bitcoin, here's the Bitcoin chart I have. Went down to 18.1, but everything was a disaster. So I don't really want to look at the very bottom. I want to look at opportunities like where we went long, like where I started to go long Apple and all these other names. You're never going to pick that bottom. I mean, I was going short when this was happening, right? But on the bounce back, you could see they defended this 18. They didn't really defend anything. I mean, Bitcoin is just going to move the way it moves, man. There's so many exchanges and things like that. It's one thing to say, oh, well, big buyers came in and bought Apple. I mean, there's only really one place to do that on the NASDAQ, unless, of course, you're buying options to create the squeeze or the gamma and everything. But the point about that is that Bitcoin following the NASDAQ and completely retracing it back up to the upside. I mean, this is obviously a tech play, Bitcoin and crypto in general. I mean, a lot of the companies that are on there are worth nothing. They're looking to develop something and you're paying a future price. Now, whether or not you want to be involved in crypto or not, I can understand why you wouldn't. But there's a nice move to the upside back to 19.2. So basically $1,000 upside. And that bottom is 17.8 if I go a daily chart on Bitcoin. So you came pretty close today, man. 18.1 isn't far away from 17.8. So Bitcoin almost broke the bottom as well. Remember, NASDAQ's already broke the bottom of June, and so did the ES. So the one thing that hasn't is Bitcoin. So maybe relatively strong. We did have Tony on the show to talk about that a little while ago as well. We could have him back. We have another guest coming on very, very soon in what's been an amazing day for us. I want to thank everybody. We got over 4,000 likes on our open show. We had over 10,000 watching at one time. I think net it's 70,000 views or something from the morning. So I do want to thank everybody for that, and make sure that you hit the like button because we ain't going nowhere. We're back tomorrow. We're back every day. The markets are open. It's Trader TV Live. You've now found the best trading station on YouTube.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the best things about it is, look, it's always about different perspectives. And like I have a different sort of take on some of what we saw in the morning, because we all know that a lot of market making is done by algorithms. And that's not only true in the equities. That's also very true in when it comes to crypto. So when you have a big flush at 8:30, like when you get a reversal like this, then that tells me there's a lot of trap shorts down there. One of the ways to do that is a lot of what happens is the bid just gets absolutely yanked on things. And then where do algos come back and make a market? To me, there is zero coincidence that if you just, I have a 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. Like just go back into the 20th and then back on the 18th of September. Look at these crazy wick bottoms. So on big flushes to the downside. Look at you can see the volume on these moves down. Oh yeah, that's not breaking volume levels on the last flushes. That's regular volume on the way down to a fresh low, then a wick bottom. Then it tries to break back up on volume, comes back, makes the low on lower volume again, and it's the same bottom right here, just sort of sitting at this 18.1, and then where did it bounce today? Off of 18.1. So, I mean, it was the same thing. Like things that held those lows that were obvious sort of, I want to say like not support levels, but they were obvious support levels. If they bounced off that, you just want to be finding longs at some point. You're not going to be at that bottom unless you just guess it's going to bounce off that level, which good luck if it breaks. But once it does make the bounce off that level, that's why I was in Intel. I wasn't in Intel in the bottom. I was on Intel after it held the bottom. And then it held the channel and broke out of the channel. Speaking of channels, Amazon's testing the top of the channel. I was sitting at 90s. If I waited at 90s, I would have got 90s, but I moved in front of 80s, so I got 77s.
Yeah, I'm trying to wait for more in the 90s as well for Amazon. And just noticing right now, JP Morgan made that move down right to the 200 period. We could have taken out a buck. We didn't. I still believe in this name to the downside. I'm not going to get out of JP Morgan here until we break over 110. So anything purple, if you ever see any purple sort of ticks on my charts, of course, that, or both of ours, you have purple too, right?
Yeah. Only Brendan doesn't use purple for the short.
Well, Brendan always has to be difficult. But that's 109.80 right there for that one. You know, into JP. It looks like it does want to go higher right now. We need one of those graphics as well, but we'll see. I don't know. I want to go short again if it comes up here, so it might just give me another opportunity to do that. We missed, well, we're right here. I mean, I might as well, on Amazon, just take this trade right now. I'm waiting. There we go. We'll just punch in. I still am waiting for 95 as well, so we'll see if we can get a short there. But why not? Just average in right now. Wanting to get a little bit higher on that, I would be... You know, it would be painful if I saw that we missed it by 5 cents. So we'll take a 90 short and then see if it wants to come back in. We do have 112 coming up pretty soon, so watch out for that one.
So I gotta say something here.
Amazon. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Because someone in the chat was just like, when I was giving the case for why I wanted to short NutX and where, they're like, oh yeah, Neil's totally long. Actually, no, I was short when it made the wick high. That's me getting out at the top. Like, here's the thing. I understand that you could make money if you were telling people, oh yeah, you should go short here, it's a good short, and then when they go short, you go long, and then they stop out and you make money doing it. That's kind of fugazi. Like, fugazi is it's Italian, if you guys don't know what that means, for like BS or nonsense, whatever. I just like it because it sounds cool, but it's the same setup. It made another wick high, so I want to work right back into essentially the same short. The fact that it wants to keep doing this, the risk reward's still good. I'll take another swing at it. I just got some at 4, and I'll probably get some more in the 6 to 7 range because it actually looks a little better even here. And yeah, I could have 110s, but the truth of the matter is, even if you were trying to do that, that's not a very viable trading strategy overall. Because if you're just sitting there and hoping that people are going to go the other direction, like what? You guys are going to be punching so much, and now it goes, and I don't even have anything.
I hate those. Make me throw up. That's why I don't trade those, because honestly,
no, but I don't even. The thing about it is, like, when it goes the second time, it's like now I like it more, but it's harder to get the shares when it looks better, and that's the actual truth. Because when it's not as good, you can get all the shorts you want because there's still people actively buying it. But when it does the bigger capitulation, there are less people that are confident about this, and then it's harder to get the offer. That's just, you know, it is what it is. Like, I have a quarter of what I had the first time short because I was trying to get more shares here. But anyways, it's a wick top that I was looking for. It made a more convincing wick top. That's why I jumped into the short the second time. And no, we wouldn't say we're going short and then go long a stock. It just... Honestly, like, that's kind of despicable, to be honest with you. Like, I'm kind of one of those people, like, I don't know. What?
I mean, that's why we show it. That's why we put our things on the bottom there. And I mean, you guys can, look, I've invited everybody to come to our floor. I mean, it's our, you just Google it, you can figure it out where we are. You can come here, see what's going on.
So
this place isn't built on losers, right? This is like, if you look at Vegas, there's a reason why these hotels are huge, because everybody that goes in there pays them to do that. Well, guess what?
Not me.
Yeah, when the markets, yeah, you've never been, but you will one day. And when the markets open here, it's the opposite. The market pays us daily. So, all right, let's go over to the big desk with Brendan.
All right, we are happy, guys, to have, for the second time, back on the show. It's been a long time, though, so I'm really excited about this. Kurt Marvis is CEO and co-founder of Q Media. You got to go back to 2019 since the last time we've talked to Kurt and everyone at Q Media. They are a media-focused company who is focusing right now on the market of India and continue to focus on growing themselves with the world's top influencers. As I mentioned, we are very happy to have CEO and co-founder Kurt Marvis back on the show for the second time. It's great to see you, Kurt. Welcome back. It's been
good to see you, Brent.
Yeah, it's been a few years, as I was mentioning. Hope all is well. If anyone is maybe unfamiliar with Q Media, why don't we just start off with a little introduction to the company and how things have been for the past couple of years.
Sure. Yeah, QU Media was named because we were going to queue up the best YouTube videos. As you can see behind me here, I had a long history with MTV back when I was much younger, producing videos for lots of bands that we all know and recognize. And YouTube, decades later, became what I would argue the MTV of a new generation in terms of it defining what they were watching, what they were interested in, et cetera. So when we started with this idea, we were going to queue up the best of YouTube because there was so much content that was on that platform. This is before TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, all these other platforms that exist today. So our business is all wrapped around the curation and packaging of the best of what's in social video. That's really what we do. And the biggest country that we do it in, the primary place that we've changed our business since I was last on here, is India. And that's where our focus is today.
An absolutely massive potential and a huge market. You know, we've seen the likes of Apple recently, you know, shifting more and more of their production to India. We'll touch on the market and the potential here in a second, but I want to talk a little bit about the past couple of years because, I mean, everyone's well aware of what happened. COVID presented monumental challenges for businesses of all sizes. How have things changed throughout the past couple of years for Q Media? And talk a little bit about how the company pivoted during COVID.
Well, I think that when we started with this concept, we actually, when I last was on here, we were distributing in over 25 different countries. And it wasn't really working anywhere because we misread the market in terms of the specificity of in India, those kids want to watch Indian creators' videos. In France, they want to watch French creators' videos. In Mexico, Mexican creators' videos. And in India, it has the largest young population of any country in the world, 650 million people 25 years of age or younger, 850 million 35 years of age or younger. And so we zeroed in on India because we saw an opportunity there that there was this mass population of young people. Their consumption of social video content is among the largest of any place in the world with the possible exception of China. And so we zeroed in on India, focused all of our business efforts there, and it's starting to bear fruit. COVID, look, it caused a pause for everyone in mid-2020. We saw things turn around for us at the end of 2020. And to put it in perspective, in 2020 as a business, these are in Canadian dollars, we did 2.6 million in revenue as a business in 2020. We did 13.6 million in revenue in 2021, and we're projecting that we'll do 30 million in revenue this year in 2022. So that gives you an idea of what our trajectory has been over the last couple of years.
And that alone, I want to emphasize this point, that alone, you know, given the conditions that we've had for the past couple of years is a monumental achievement. So congratulations to everyone in the team at Q Media. Let's talk about the latest offering, and that is the Q Play platform launched recently. And this is the direct-to-consumer market aimed, which is projected to be a $100 billion market by 2025. What can we expect with the Q Play platform?
Yeah, that's a $100 billion market just in the country of India. And direct-to-consumer has really been driven by the creators and influencers that we work with. These are the kids that start to have communities and followers that they're beginning now to directly transact with. I'm sure anybody who's watching right now who's under 35 years of age or younger has seen on Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat or whatever where they're directly buying things from the people that they're following or watching on those platforms. Same phenomenon is taking place in India. Q Play that we recently announced takes all 5 of our channels now in India, bundles them into one free app. You don't have to register, you just download it, but it begins to produce a direct relationship between us and our viewership. Now, our viewership, if we'd been speaking 2 years ago, was in the single-digit millions in India on a weekly basis. We now reach about 125 million people in India who view Q-branded content every single week. We call that our loudspeaker. So a lot of what we're doing with Q Play and with some future announcements you'll see coming from us is we're starting to drive into that $100 billion plus direct-to-consumer market in India because we have the ability to reach that audience.
Let's talk about the creator economy here. It's a term that we've started to hear more and more over, you know, the past even 3 to 5 years, where we've really seen this kind of ramp to the upside and become a pivotal part of ad spending campaigns, regardless of the size at this point. Where do you see the creator economy as of today, and where can we expect it to go in the next 3 to 5 years as well?
Well, I think when we talk, I mean, just the fact that we're calling it the creator economy, I think, is indicative of how big it's become. It started when we started this business, creators, as they're now known as, or influencers, were called YouTubers because that was the only platform that was there. With TikTok now, there's not a brand on the planet that, when they're trying to figure out what they're going to do to reach an audience of young people, is not planning on using TikTok as a platform that they're going to be advertising on. Same is true of Instagram, same is true of Snapchat, same is true of YouTube. So these social video platforms have become an essential part of the advertising world and of the content viewership world. Years ago, when I was doing MTV, this is when cable and satellite was exploding. People were seeing new channels about music videos or cooking or fashion or whatever they might have been. In today's world, everybody's watching the content that's happening on their phones on these social video platforms. So we feel like we're uniquely positioned with the massive audience that exists around this, not just currently, but this is going to keep growing and growing and growing. And that's why our business is completely targeting everything that happens along those platforms.
Let's take a little bit of a look forward here, Kurt, as we make our way into the final quarter of the year. What can investors expect here from Q Media to wrap up not only 2022, but what hopefully will be a much better year to come in the next few?
Yeah, I mean, look, we feel like we're not the only business, but we're among many businesses where our growth trajectory is kind of decoupled from our share price right now. I mean, we were trading at 12 to 15 times revenue going back 18 months when we had a fraction of the viewership, a fraction of the content, a fraction of the penetration that we have today. Everything that revolves around our share price and our corporate value revolves around what's happening in the overall markets. Well, we're going to keep growing. Every quarter this year in 2022 is going to be a record-breaking quarter for us from a revenue perspective. Everything that we're teeing up now with Qplay and some other initiatives that we'll be announcing soon is targeting this direct-to-consumer push that we're going to be making in 2023 and beyond. And so our feeling is that what's happening in India, we talk about all the time, how what took place in China over the last couple of decades, we believe, and we're not alone in this belief, is going to be what's happening in India over the next couple of decades. India is going to become a powerhouse economically, technologically, and otherwise, much more so than it is today. We think we're in a position to ride that wave. QYOU, guys, or QY, I'm sorry, QYOU on the Venture Exchange here in Toronto, guys. Go check out Q Media. Kurt Marvis is co-founder and CEO of the company. Always a pleasure, Kurt. Thanks for doing this once again. Okay, great seeing you, Brendan. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, India, a lot of people talking about India.
Yeah,
they have the technology, the education, everything like that. And pretty interesting that, I mean, I guess it makes sense. They're the largest teen group of teens there. I forgot the age group that he mentioned, but yeah.
Without some of the, I don't want to get into politics, but like obviously without some of the growth issues or potential issues that you might see
don't have China.
in China.
You don't have China's coming in there and banning YouTube
well,
one day.
okay, that's what I was, yeah, you're right.
That's not, I mean,
I can just say it. I should have just said it. That's the difference.
I mean, imagine if YouTube was in China. I mean, Trader TV Live would have, I don't know, 100 million subs? Who knows? But make sure you join us, guys. 350,000 subscribers right now.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah?
So Amazon, I got stopped out on Amazon. Well, I mean, obviously we just made a fresh high. Apple just took out, so we didn't make a high in the NASDAQ, I should say. When I say we made a fresh high, I'm talking about Apple. Apple just took out the top. The NASDAQ is like, I don't know, like a handle away. So basically at the high and about to break it. We're going top side here. All I got left is that intel that we add to the long side, and maybe it's just going to be as simple as getting an Apple breakout if this market wants to churn through the high. If we get to 2.5%, man, you know, why not 3? I kind of feel like that poll that we threw in the midday show. It's like, why do we bother asking if it will turn green, if it will hold green, when the market was already up 1% at that point? It probably should have been like, where do we think we'll end up? And we should have put some options in like 1%, 2%, 5%. 8%, no, 3% more reasonable. But here comes 143 even on Apple. I do have to go manage my Zoom short because if the market's going up, Zoom's getting a little bit close. That's 75. My short is off of this level, 75.40. I do have a 20s. I started it at 30s and I added at 17 on the way down. So I have my 17s left. My average price was actually about 25. So this is still in the money, but you know, if it turns green on the day and takes out the top, I got to get out of this thing. That's the other reason I like the Zoom short. It closed at 75 and a quarter. So I was essentially shorting it when it was trying to go green. It failed going green, and I shorted it back at the price it closed.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just sitting here looking at this market, and it's like I think it can still go higher. That's the crazy part about this. Okay, so we're still, Google right now is approaching its day's high, and we're still in this one. So this is $4 now, but I still think that we can get a little bit higher. I think it's also prudent to get out if it does come back up to this high. So I'd love to show, and be in this name for you all day and stuff. But again, if we start to take out some of these levels, there has to be a point where there is a turnaround in the market. I mean, there doesn't have to be, but I mean, heading into Friday tomorrow, it was not a great CPI number. We already know about that. But again, not as bad as maybe some could have thought. I still don't know. I'm going to do some reading tonight. Was sort of busy here today, just kind of decoupling and relaxing a little bit after some of those trades this morning, but just really to find out what the real reason for this move up is here today. I think people just probably found value at the bottom, and we could easily make that bottom again. This is not 94 for Google. I mean, the market, we could wake up tomorrow and you're down 1.5%, and then the next thing you know, you're giving it back throughout the day. So wouldn't be surprised, but it's nice to see it up 2 and a bit. So on that being said, 99, that's close enough to a hundy. So we're going to get out 99.70. So I'm going to put that order right now. If Google rips back up to that 99, let's put it at 60. Why not? We are long at 95.60, so 99.60 gives us pretty good. So we'll do that. We'll see if we can make that happen to that upside. We did get stopped out of Amazon, but the good thing about it was I was kind of like enjoying Amazon because we did get short there at 110 and then got some out in the 90s there when it fell back down for a couple pennies because we had an average price. Now you're going to see it's back in, but we did get out. I told you we were going to get out when it broke 20 there, so that did happen, and we did get out. So that's kind of sucks, but that high right there of 40, whatever, now you're starting to fade back out. We did miss a JP Morgan reload. That would have been kind of cool to get reloaded there, but as the market was ripping to the upside, we were waiting once again at the same spot that we're already short, so that's not going to come into play. I still feel like we need to find something to get short on.
I just found something.
Yeah, let's go because we need something.
Well, I don't usually trade this for a day trade, but US Steel's at $20. Like exactly $20. It got to $19.99.5. So I mean, midpoints are a thing. They happen in the market. So that means it saw 20 on the offer and only midpoints printed. So no one actually bought at 20. So I'm short at 96 here, and my out is going to be at $20. Look, you can't tell me that all of a sudden the economic outlook for demand has suddenly shifted too much there. So I think some of the concerns that might have been in some of these names is still kind of present. It's also a psychological level. As the ES is at 3,700, Apple's at the top, the NASDAQ's at the top. I'm still seeing UVXY bouncing to the upside, so that's actually holding higher for me. So I'm still looking for some opportunities that are at resistance levels. Like it's not just short anything. Short something that's at a level where A, it's obvious where to get out, so you know where you're wrong. I always want to know where I'm wrong first and then get into the trade. But two, like it has to have some room to the downside. Like the risk to this is about 5 pennies. Even if it goes to support, that's 25 cents. If by off chance it went to VWAP, that's 60 cents. Like those are the kind of moves these stocks have made. I don't think it's going back to VWAP, but if it goes 20 cents, the risk to reward does make some sense for me here on US Steel. I haven't really checked out any of the other steel names. I'm sure they've got similar moves into the upside. This is 3%, but the overall market is also about 3%. So it's not like this is overly strong. It's slightly leading the market. If it was 5 or 6% up, maybe I'd hesitate.
Yeah, thank you guys, and if everyone definitely hit the like. Yeah, no, some of these moves are going to be slow. I feel like, and I talked about this yesterday, when the market wasn't great, and it's like right now this is my best day this month. Like once you have have that capital in, we're going to talk about some names. So if there's anything you guys want us to look at, there's no doubt about that. We'll call it up. But I'm going to try to be patient here and wait for certain things to hit, right? And if they don't hit, they don't hit. If they do, then they do. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's really what trading's all about. I don't need to be in this name or in these stocks like crazy, just waiting for good opportunities to get in, right? So if we do get a meta drop back into these levels, 129, look at us just respecting this 200 period right here. So if we do fall back in a little bit, I kind of like that look down here for that name. So not down here to 129.40 or anything, but maybe starting the bidding right around here. I put a bid at 129.80, so just a little bit ahead of that. Hopefully we can hold it out. If we don't, then we can get out on a break lower. But that's where I want to do for Meta. Wait for this one to come back in a little bit. We did Meta's a short there. Like I said, we had a $2 winner. Should have took it, didn't. I thought the market was going to hit the low side there, and Meta was not performing as well as some of the other names like Apple, Microsoft. All those names up 3, 4, 5%. AMD, the latter there. So I think we can wait for Meta to pull back. Let me just go over to AMD quickly here. Again, AMD's only up 1.7. I might have now found something that's a little bit weaker that I don't mind shorting here. AMD, actually. I thought AMD was up a lot more than that, to be honest with you, but I guess it's because where it came from. But a nice move there now for AMD. Oh, man, I don't know. There's still nothing here. For me, it's almost like we got to get down here to go short. We got to break some of these levels. We did get out of our Netflix. That's going to appear to be a problem as we got out right there, right where it barcoded. It tried to break 230. We got out. I don't even know if it broke 230. It doesn't look like it when we got out, but whatever. It ticked lower. We got out of that. And then it ripped up to 233 almost. So that was a bad out, but still a good long. The fact that we had the long was pretty good to begin with there. So many names hit 52-week lows today. Shopify, Meta, I mean, every name did, right? The SPYs hit 52-week lows. The Qs hit 52-week lows. AMD hit 52-week lows. Tesla, okay. I mean, yeah, here's a name that we didn't really talk too much about here in the last little while. Tesla hit 52-week lows today of 206. Just like Microsoft, Tesla's now up $16. It's the same as Microsoft. Huge moves to the upside here for Tesla today, right? And then you say, okay, well, do you want to go short? I mean, do you really want to go short in this area? And I also don't want to go long. So I need something to fall in. So if you guys...
There's a huge offer on Apple at 143.
Okay, yeah, I don't really want to go short on Apple, but yeah, that could be something. Let's have a look.
Oh, I wasn't meaning I wanted to go short.
No, but the huge offer got...
Yeah, it just got
smoked,
crushed. I just got long at 03s on the break, so not a ton of slippage. Slippage just means it broke 143, and that triggers my long.
Damn.
So it's not a ton of slippage realistically, but the long's not really exploding up. What you'd like to see on the level 2 here is, you go immediately to 10, and then you're sort of churning into that first quarter. Okay, I just said what you want to see is that you go through 10, and then it jumps up to 10, and then it goes to that quarter, start scalping some out, then try to hold for a bigger move. But initially, it wasn't that great. But there was legit, on the first offer I saw, on the first gateway, I should say, I saw at 143. It was about 100,000 shares. I want to say it was EdgeX or something like that. But that's just one gateway. It was probably more size than that. It was probably a couple 100,000 shares. But it's only going to this quarter, so I might just get another leg out here in 143.20. The thing about a breakout trade is kind of obvious. You just bought the top. So remember I was talking about wick-off tops? If it rejects said top, then suddenly you could be caught in a kind of a ridiculous move where everyone's running to the exit exactly the same time. For now, Apple continues to only go up as it leads the market there. Ooh, we actually hear the... I know you guys always hear it, but we don't always hear the graphics. So I didn't realize that's the sound that made. Kind of could be cooler than that, I think, when we get the up arrow.
Yeah, I knew that was... Okay, there it is. Yeah, we've heard that before. Maybe it's a little bit louder now for sure, I guess. There it is, man. We will take the $4 winner. We always know what that one is. Hopefully the Maple Leafs can light the goal lamp tonight. But there it is there. A nice $4 winner out on Google at the high of the day. So there it is, man. We take that out. We end our trading. I mean, we're not ending it yet. We have a 40-cent winner on right now for JP Morgan to the short side. But there it is, man. We're now at the highest spot we've been at all day and our best day so far this month. What just happened? Oh, DWAC. Did I get long? Yes, I did. So DWAC took 18 there, by the way. So we waited for that play to come through. DWAC taking out right there 18. So we did go long on that. I'm going to use this back to 1750. I just wanted to see if there was going to be some juice into that. Taking 18, that's the 50 period. Let's just see, not expecting much on it, but we'll be here in case it does want to make that upside move there. DWAC long right now, 1804. So that's pretty much 18. So we'll see if that can come through now on DWAC, giving that bottom play there of 1760. I thought maybe I got into Meta because I'm waiting for 131. That's the high right there. We'll see if it breaks it. If it does, again, same kind of thing, man. Back to this level right there, which is 130.50. So we'll see if that can break. Don't want to go long yet on this name until it breaks, right? And again, I kind of want to scalp it, but I think we'll just do the 1-to-1 risk to reward. If we're going to go long at 131, we should take a piece out at 131.50. But again, like Meta's, these stocks have a lot of room to go. It's just how far today? You're already up. You're approaching 3% right now. Some of these bottoms, again, for Meta, like 123 to 131. So you got $9 there. Not as aggressive as Microsoft or Tesla, but it's $100 less than those names as well. So probably more aggressive then when you think about that. So nice move to the upside here for Meta. Let's wait to see what happens. So DWAC, a whopping 5 cents in the money. Let's see if we can go a little bit more, man. Like honestly, 19 I think is a good spot here for DWAC. So let's do that. Let's see if we can get that print in up to $19. I'm going to put the stop order in at 17.50, but it is a new position alert. Whether or not it's a good idea, time shall tell, but I don't mind it. It's in the money a dime now. JP Morgan still 40 cents. Here we go, 30 cents in the money for DWAC. We'll see about a 19 print if that can come through.
Yeah, I just took my 3-cent hit on US Steel. It got to 20.01. I punched out at 20.01. It might be back below 20, but with Apple making the break, and now the futures, the ES futures are less than 5 points away from 3,700. I kind of want to give some of these longs on a break a chance, because if you take out this high, it's like we've been squeezing up so much. I want to give the longs a chance here to work. I mean, if Apple gets back below 143, I'll try to find my way into another short. I still have Zoom, but I didn't add to Zoom. I'm just sitting in the last of it because it hasn't stopped out, and I don't want to add to it at this point. If Apple gets back below 143, I'll look to add to something like a Zoom, and I'm not even sure I want to short Apple. If it gets to 143.5, that's when my next offer is going to be. Ooh, that was interesting. It was just at 40s, 43s actually. I saw it get up there, and then someone just dumped a bunch back into 143.30. So clearly either someone just maybe initiated a short there or was dumping a few shares and caused the pullback 10 cents. But if we're above 143, I think the longs do have a chance. There's a heck of a lot out here that's still moving, and you're still in Netflix. Oh,
No, we got out on that 230 break, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's still 233. Wow.
Well, the interesting thing about Netflix is when that push just happened to get to the highs, it kind of just hung out here. And anytime I see that, it's like, okay, well, if we don't break 3,700, maybe that's exhausted. So that's the only thing I noticed, because I was expecting that would have made a pop. Like Zoom, which I'm in, when the market just made that push up, this is what Zoom did. You know, it didn't get to its high, but nice distinct spike. That's the same moment that Apple was breaking out, right? I bet you if I go to Microsoft, I haven't looked at Microsoft, but I bet you I pull it up here, and when Apple made that push to the upside, yeah, it made a little bit of a press to the upside. It didn't just sit around. It's not a huge move. Yeah, but it went, actually, that's actually almost $1. This is the problem with the chart today, is Microsoft is up so much that I look at this candle, I'm like, oh, that's a $1 candle. That just went $1. Netflix didn't even budge in that same move. So maybe Netflix is running out of steam there. And we didn't look at Disney. I know we had Brendan talk about Disney's up as well. There was the possibility that Disney could be following suit. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. When it comes to an ad-supported model, even Disney made a bit of a press to the upside. Disney gets to 100. I think it's probably going to be a short at some point this week. Brendo?
We have a number of earnings guys coming up tomorrow, including some from the healthcare group. I mentioned the relative strength coming in this morning from the healthcare group. We're among the first to go. 2.5% here. I mean, so many charts look like this today, but UNH, 2.5% here, just took out day highs. They will report before the open tomorrow.
It's New York.
All right. New position alert. Meta right now, 131. Let's see where Meta goes now. So we did break that top there on Meta. We said we'd wait for this. I don't know. Like I said, like the positions that I'm putting on now are not even like in the realm of stuff that we would have put on earlier. Again, breaking tops is a dangerous game. I know it worked out great for Apple there, but I just feel like this is a dangerous spot right now. So we are going to sort of ease back a little bit on our expectations here. But again, you know, we have some lines that we want to talk about. We want to talk about that 130.50 area, which is right there. Hopefully we don't break that, but we could come back and test it. And we'll try to go long again if it does come back into that area. But I don't want to give money away just because we need to be sitting here and trading, because we we don't. So that's why, you know, I talk like that a little bit. I want to try to protect and preserve capital, and we've been doing a good job. I mean, that's part of the reason why, you know, we got out of Google when it hit that top. Now, whether or not it keeps on going, I got to stay disciplined, and it's killing me to see Apple ripping up there, because we were long down here, but this is where the risk goes in on my account, right? It doesn't go in up here, you know, it goes in when we have actionable events. And right now, whether or not these futures go up or down, I'm excited to see what those market imbalances are. I still think that we could get some spicy movement on that front, so that'll be really interesting to come through. So just to talk here, because we just did punch long DWAC, or sorry, DWAC, we're in DWAC as well. Let's look at my board. Long Meta, long the Truth there, and then short. I'm going to a wrestling event today at Rico Coliseum. AEW, if any of you guys know that has Jericho and all those guys in it. Going there with my brother, it should be a lot of fun.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it should be fun. Anyways, Meta, I just want to talk about that quickly. Right there, 130.50 will get a piece in again. And then honestly, if it breaks below like 30 or 25, then we'll get out. I'm going to give Meta one more chance to come in. But the position I'm talking about, this is 10% of a position of an Apple or something that I would have had earlier. So not a big trade, and that hurts me too, because when it's not a big trade, sometimes, you know, when it goes up, you're like, oh, why didn't I put on more shares? But you hear me say that all the time. So, all right, let's go, guys. Here comes Meta pulling back. Looks like it was a short off the top, but I'm going to try one more time on a pullback long, and then just give it back down in here into the 20s or so for this name. But just trying some longs here in case we can hold something into the close. It doesn't look like Meta's going to work, though.
So a couple of things. One, Apple's back at 143, just briefly ticked lower. When it did, I took some more Zoom short because Zoom. And I'll probably give Apple to like the 80 level because I did scalp most of it out. And there was a question, someone asking if I hold any long-term stock. Yeah, I do, for sure. If I bought recently. I didn't buy today. If I had not recently bought, I had bought some Intel recently and actually shifted some GM to Ford. I kind of figured it's same space, one with a dividend. I like that $11 level I was talking about. But if I hadn't bought Intel recently in front of 25 on a stink bid, then I probably would have this morning. But reality is, I think you want to be at least a little bit cautious in terms of how aggressively you think this is a bit of a bottom. But if you like the stock, it's not a horrible idea to sort of be nibbling into it. Speaking of Intel, it's running into a wall at 26.50, and it's not the high of the day. The market's at the top. There's a lower high here, at least a good 30 pennies off of that top, which is pretty significant for Intel. So if it can't get through 50, I'm going to throw a trail on this back beneath this 30 level, because I think if the market makes another leg and we break this at 50, it's been hanging here so long that it could go 20 to 30 up. So I want to give it some room inside of this channel if it can make that breakout, but it has not been able to do that at all. It might even be worth an add. If the market takes 3,700 and I can still punch 26.50 long on Intel or 51.52, then I'll go ahead and do that. But it's Zoom that I like for the short, so it's Zoom that I just jump back into when Apple threatened that 143. Of course, Apple's now back at 143.11, so that means Apple's still above that 43. But once it showed any signs of weakness, Zoom is what I wanted to go short in. You got to pick your poison. This one's still red on the day.
I mean, all I need to do is talk a little bit bad about Meta. We got long at the bottom there. You saw me get long. So now we're in the money 20 cents on Meta. So we took a piece out there at 131 right there when it came back up. I mean, that's right where we punched long. We averaged in. So obviously that's going to be a winner. And let's just see now if it goes higher than that. I don't know if it's going to. I'm going to say maybe not here for Meta. But we'll wait. I'm waiting at 131.20 to get a piece out. And then if we go higher than that, then it's all young gravy right now. 17 cents in the money now on Meta, so we're going to watch out for that. We do have another offer coming through for JP Morgan, just to see what happens around 110 again. So we do, I'm pretty sure I still have all these stop orders in and stuff. Yeah, so JP Morgan looking to average. We're waiting for 85s. I don't want to take it yet. We're already short at 73, so it's already a dub, but we'll wait on that one to see if we can get up to 110. Trying to average in right where we are, but even higher than that, into the 80s on that one. Come on, did we just get filled? No, we didn't, but we're very close. We are 3 pennies away there from getting out for a 30-cent win on Meta. Let's see if it does continue its upside surprise here for that day. Meta still climbing now. Let's see if it comes. We were just talking about how disaster it was. Our DWAC trade, and it's getting a little quiet on this front right now. We just made a move to 50 and stopped. So I'm waiting for 19. But you know what? We can make a piece back on this DWAC from our loss today. And just to make it back would be fine for me. So if we can, I mean, I'll just take anything back at this point. I don't need to make it all back. I don't think we will. We lost, remember, we lost $1. That's 21.50 exactly, and that's out at 20. So that's $1.50. We're gonna have to get to 19.50 in order for that to happen. Still could, still could. I was waiting at 19 for the first piece, and then maybe a blowout top to the X piece, but not happening. That top right now is 18.50. So I'll sit there. If it comes back up, great. Remember the risk to reward on this? It's 1-to-1 if we take that 50 mark, right? So we'll take that. Our out was going to be 17.50 anyways on Digital World Acquisition Corp.
Saying the full thing, I like it.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, I'm tired of saying the other one. All right, so there it is. I'm just going to sit on my hands now, watch Meta. Hopefully that prints. If JP Morgan comes back up, you know I like that call as well. XOM up to 101, 108. What else you guys want there?
Someone just said short XLE there, but
maybe.
I saw a good question in the
Netflix.
chat. Someone was complaining about the lack of movement in the VIX and volatility. That's been true the entire time. I pull up TLT, still falling, which means yields rising, right? But then it's the same thing with VIX. It's like the UVXY is what we have in our system, and it's still holding higher. Like it broke the channel up, and it's still holding above that level, which is interesting. That's why I'm a little skeptical that we're breaking the top. And someone asked, why do I like Zoom Short? By the way, that last bit of Apple just got trailed out.
Boo.
So, I mean, that long's gone, but why do I like Zoom Short? It's because it didn't go green. Yes, it recovered like everything else in the market. It made the bottoms. It couldn't break through that CPI high, which just whatever a stock was at 830, I'm calling it the CPI high. And then it had lower highs and could not go green on the day, well, barely could. So I think that's relatively weak. So if I'm shorting something at resistance, the added benefit of it not being one of the stronger names in the market, I think is worthwhile. So that's the only reason it's Zoom was above any other thing. It's not really a fundamental case, even if I don't think fundamentally it shouldn't be a little bit lower in this kind of an environment. Brendo?
Just a heads up on Meta, guys. There's a note from the company saying they've asked a U.S. judge to dismiss the FTC lawsuit seeking to block the deal for them to acquire that Within Unlimited, which is a VR software company. So not really doing anything, but a heads up on Meta.
Yeah, okay. Since I'm trading it, good. Thank you, Brendo.
It's not bad news, though.
Nah, it doesn't seem like, I mean, it's going to follow the market. On a day like today, Meta's just going to say, all right, hold my beer on news like that, and let's see what else there is. So, yeah, I'm gonna wait on that one. If it was like, if something about Microsoft and the Activision deal or something like that, then I could see, obviously, we would head right over there and I'd punch the living out of the long for Microsoft. I can't believe they're doing that deal.
So apparently there is something about, I think it's like the British regulators.
Good.
So honestly, if somehow this deal were to fall through, Activision has a long way to fall if this deal were to fall through. We always talk about Twitter as if that's the only thing out there, but trust me, if the regulators do halt this deal, which I'm not saying they will. As a matter of fact, most arbors are not really betting on that too heavily enough. But look, realistically, if it did, this stock is in the tank. It's just, you think about how much it's been held up by the fact that it's got the cash offer. It's really only pulled back about 10% from its highs, and it's had that stability of the deal. This could easily be in the 50s. If that deal would fall apart, and you could argue that it could be worse than that, to be honest with you. But I think it's just England. The U.S. regulators haven't shown much signs of kiboshing the deal. And then, Sean, the other side of course, is that Microsoft shoots to the upside. We always talk about Tesla and Twitter as if this isn't lingering around too.
Isn't it like that, like a $50 billion deal? It's more than Twitter.
It's a big.
Yeah, it's a big. Think about that.
I don't remember the exact number, but it's a monster deal.
It's in the 50s,
and we never talk about it.
It's in the 50s, and now Microsoft's got to pay that. Ugh, I wish they were kind of forced not to pay it. Shout out to Chris. What's up, Chris? David or David there. Thank you so much, Chris. At Sean. You got to do my full name or I don't see it, but I did see it right there. Watch JP Morgan. So I will do that. And I actually just went into more short on that name here for JP. So there it is right here. I just shorted a 60 print. So we'll see where we go now for JP Morgan. I am watching it, trust me. I'm not going to let this break 110. It's a small, it's not okay, it's small right now. It's not small, but there's a position right now and looking to get more in the 80s. So that's really what I'm waiting for. I just took this trade right now. Why? Because I was thinking, first of all, oil's up 2.5%, which is pretty nice right there. Or sorry, 2.25%. I was thinking that the NASDAQ, and I know JP Morgan is not the NASDAQ and yada yada, but the NASDAQ was breaking down a little bit lower. I still do have the ES on another screen up here. I could do both. It's just most of the names I trade and most of the work I've done is in correlation with NASDAQ and some of the big tech names, so that's why I'm here. But I just thought we could have broke lower there and then retested this 11,000. That's sort of what I'm thinking. I do obviously have some shorts on with JP Morgan, but the DWAC long is not doing anything. And the Meta long, as the market breaks down, and we have some news about Meta there, not that that's affecting the stock really, I don't think it is, doesn't seem like it is. We do have some lower bids here on Meta. And then remember where we said we're gonna get out if we break below 30 there. So I'm just gonna double check to make sure, yes, so we do have that order out. And I am looking for more longs right now in Meta. My bid's at 45. Literally, I was just gonna look, do I have a bid at 50? It's at 45. So here comes Meta. Hopefully it'll run right through us. It will. At this point, like, do I want to go back? Yes, but I actually want my long now. If it's gonna come all the way down here, I should get a long. So hopefully we can get that. Don't tell me I missed it. You saw 46 on the bid. Hopefully we don't miss that by a couple pennies, but we are here. You know what? I might just punch a long right now on Meta just to make sure that we didn't. Oh, come on, man. All right, we missed that long rate. I mean, there's a perfect example, right? Comes down to our level, and then within seconds, pops back up 10 cents. So it is a scalper's paradise right now. Make sure you try to take advantage of that. Did we get a lot? Nope. I bid 54 again. It went to 55. So, all right, Meta, I'm with you here. There goes JP Morgan back down into the 50s again. I do have a bid on JP Morgan at 19. So, or sorry, 09.19. If that comes down, we will take that fill as well. But for right now, I'm getting a headache. I feel like I've talked too much today, so I'm going to get some water. We have the water right down here.
Hydration.
So we'll do Hydration Nation one more time and keep on going. But yeah, I got a big night ahead of me, so I got to start drinking some waters.
Oh, actually, I did forget to mention this. So a couple of things I want to say. Someone was mentioning in the chat there, like, make sure you're watching the US dollar. Yeah, I mean, DXY making moves as well. It's not just, I know I have TLT and I'm looking at volatility, but yes, how the US dollar moves is going to affect equities. That's part one. But part two, I was at my daughter's, it was open house, like she's in kindergarten. It was open house at the school. And as we're leaving, I'm walking out the hall and I get tapped on the shoulder and someone's like, I know you from somewhere. And it was one of our viewers. And my first thought was, I'm in Brampton. I'm like, did I go to school with you? So it's like, I'm thinking in my head, like, did I go to school with this person? And it was a viewer. I got a chance to talk to him. He watches it every single day. It's pretty cool. Kids go to the same school. I think his son was in grade 3, Ranjit there. And that's the cool thing about the community. Like, I really didn't expect it, to be honest with you. And what I love about this is, like, everyone comes from a different sort of background. And, you know, the COVID and sort of what happened in terms of, you know, a lot of people being at home and then getting into trading and then looking for a resource. Quite frankly, that's where this all came from. And then suddenly it became this community. It's not something that we were looking for to happen. Obviously, we're happy to have the success, but it's a really cool thing. It was awesome to be able to meet somebody cool like that shared that interest. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with everybody before we go back to Brendan. And where is my offer on UVXY? Hit me.
All right.
Brendan? No? Oh.
Thanks, Lucas. One that was making some moves yesterday, guys, a little volatile here this afternoon, to say the least. Hempaco was back to the upside. There's a new distribution agreement that was announced just after 2 o'clock there. Another volume alert came back in, though, as we make our way back up to 335. Still up 5%, though. Again, there's a distribution agreement that was announced this afternoon for HPCO.
Hempaco. We haven't looked at Tilray and some of the others. But by the way, the other thing I wanted to mention was we're going back into earnings season here. That's the other reason not to get incredibly super over-the-top euphoric about things. I'm just going to pull up the SPY here because the daily chart of the SPY, I mean. It's a great recovery, and yes, we've recovered some of those lows. We're back above the June lows, but really, in the grand scheme of things, you've broken you haven't broken any trends here at this point. Like, we got to respect the fact you've broken no trends. Overall, you're still in a downward trend. And if earnings start missing left, right, and center, great start by Pepsi. Love the earnings by Pepsi. The banks have a chance to show us something starting tomorrow. And actually, well, it wasn't just the banks. We had some strong earnings. Like Domino's had a great day today. So it is starting out very well. I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but if the tech earnings lean the other direction, then you could be retesting these lows pretty quick. Earnings are going to matter a heck of a lot in the back quarter here. But it is a fantastic start. We didn't talk enough about Domino's Pizza, which had a great run.
All right, let's just go like this. Let's just start keeping the money in the wheelbarrow right now, not letting it fly out like that little GIF is doing. We're going to take a piece out on JP Morgan, right? I mean, back to back. This is twice we've got out basically at this level. Now it's coming back in. We take a 40 bid. You guys saw me, and thanks to everybody in the chat as well. You just saw me take that trade, so hopefully, we'll be able to hold it for some more downside, but we did average back in. So whenever we have more shares, nothing wrong with scalping some out, especially if the market looks like this today, right? So nice little scalp out there on JP Morgan to a couple shorts. So if you've been into anything today, hopefully it's been that JP Morgan trade. It's been a good one for me. There it is right there, some downside pressure on the short. Let's see if we can go lower. I don't have any more bids on this name, so hopefully there is a lower move coming for JPM. And at the same time, we did get our bid there at right now at 55, or no, we got 50, no 50, yeah. So we got a bid there on Meta, so now let's wait. We're long at 130.80. You guys sort of know where our drop dead spot is right now. We got to break through here. It might happen quick, man, this 20-30 area. We break that back down below here, then we're going to get out. So let's see if we can't make a little bit of a move to the high side now. Excuse me. On this is what happens, like when chugging that water back there. We'll see if we can get a little higher here on Meta. We've just stopped a bunch of times at 80. Like that would make sense to me to get out there at 83. So let me make sure if I do have an offer there. I have it at 95. Let's put it down a little bit into the 80s in case we do get sort of a little bit of a bump up. That could always happen. So we'll put something in the, oh, here it comes. We'll put something right here to see if we can get out. And again, just buy the dips, hold something so we're able to make some money back, right? So that's what we're doing right now. Hopefully it can come in for us. That's Meta. Couple more pennies higher, we'll get a piece out. And again, just trying to be patient. I said that we would be patient. The problem is it took down 131. So when that happened, we did get in to that, which sort of sent us offside a little bit. But then we averaged in and got right back out at 131. Just stopped, man. We were literally at 80, so 81, sorry, on that trade. So let's see if that can come in right now. But so far, so good, man. JP Morgan's 30 cents in the money. I mean, putting me to sleep here is DWAC. I'd hate for this. I don't really care. I mean,
its volume is, that's so
there's
dead.
no volume. There's nothing happening. I could put some couple pennies in the pocket right now. I mean, waiting here. Let's just wait for 1850, man. Let's just see if we do get a last-second bump here on Digital World, because if it does come through, great, but it may or may not come into that. So we'll wait for DWAC, see what happens, but we're here for it. So if it does make that move to the upside, we're at 50 there, and then we're going to try to hold out for something on the top side as well. So we'll wait for Digital World Acquisition Corp to go. There goes Meta. So yes, sir, we'll go like that. Now it's in the money. I'm trying to go green on this name. It has nothing to do with the net or anything. I just think that we can go above 131, and then we're cooking, right? So far so good. Bought there, out there, bought, out. So let's go. Target right here. Do I still have that? I still do. So I still have that 131.18. Last time we had that, it stopped at 15. So let's see. Let's see if it wants to keep going to the upside right now. That is Meta trying for an upside move. I'll be there, 131.18. I'm not moving my order, Meta.
And I've just gone back to the well on Zoom. It went right down to that 74.80, got some out again, went right back up to 75.20, so got more in again. But there was a couple of things I wanted to address. Gary Mills asked a question. Here's the thing. Yes, thoughts on AMC for a swing? I don't know that I probably have never said I would want to swing long on AMC. And in fact, I probably said that this morning, that I thought it was going to $5 today, where, by the way, as a day trader, I probably would look at that $5 long on the off chance. Risk to reward, I'm not going to tell you it's ridiculous. I just feel like the way that the stock has been trending to the downside, it broke out a little bit here today, but it never really threatened some of the levels that it saw in yesterday's trade. It's still at that $6 level and barely breaking away from it now as everything else is trying to run, and it's been putting in lower highs all afternoon. That's not incredibly bullish overall. So I'd probably always say no for AMC, because the risk to reward right now I don't think it's fantastic. I think the risk of it coming back into the downside and then challenging some pretty big levels if it gets down to 5, that's a good 20% from here. Whereas if you go up 10%, you just run into a ton of chop. It's not at a good spot. It's almost like AMC's better when it breaks $7 as opposed to going long 6. As counterintuitive as that sounds sometimes. Sometimes getting one of these squeeze type plays through a more key level is just better than trying to sit in it hoping to catch lightning in a bottle when it's still hanging out at the low. So that's just, again, it is what it is. I think $5 gets really interesting on the stock. Make sure you're watching out on APE. There is a bit of a relationship. You have to look at both these things for the total value, and that stock's just been heading down towards 0 despite the move today. Zoom just broke 75 again, so now it's back headed toward VWAP. I keep looking over at Intel, and it's like, yeah, it won't break 2560, but it won't stop me out either. So the trail's not hitting. It's not breaking this top end either. It's kind of a nothing burger. And the imbalances, early look.
Yeah.
63 million to buy. The time is 334. That's why I was in my head. But 63 million to buy. It's not about the imbalances. It's about whether the longs that won today take some profit. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think they've already taken most of the profit. Like Meta right now is flushing. We did get out of Meta right there on the breakthrough 30. So that one definitely flushed out. We were just talking to Meta like, hey, let's go to the upside. Went to 131, stopped and flushed right there. So we got out. And again, not going to be profitable on there. That's why it's like right now with the market coming into the close, very, very tricky to put on positions just sort of randomly there. But I'm happy with the trade, not upset. It just didn't really pan out there for me on Meta, giving me red day on this name. So that's fine. We'll talk about that as we go, of course. I did change my DWAC there. I'm going to get out if it takes down 1780. Right there, I kind of decided. I'm still here for this trade, so if it does come up and hit me, that's fine. And then we have, this is again why the Meta trade is not hurting at all. Like we have the same shares. Like look at JP Morgan. This is now in the money 70 cents as it continues to crack lower. It just went down to 108.70 there for JP Morgan. So right into there and out, right into there and out. This is when a viewer there, I apologize, I forgot your name there, said to me that, watch out for Meta or watch out for JP Morgan, but it actually is going the other way, falling right now. So that's going to be a definite good trade for me there on Meta, on JP Morgan. Bad one on Meta, good one on JPM. That's it. We only have those two coming into the close. So we could see, is anything else on support? A name that I like to trade, and then we had a big winner on this the other day, PayPal. So this
has a double, triple top. Someone was asking about that in the chat.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, and there were a lot of things that were at that high that realistically, if you took them, the market got to the top and is reversing here. So I guess they're all pretty much working. You just had to pick your poison. I wouldn't have had a particular reason to go short that. But I did want to we had a super chat, and I'll acknowledge the super chat. It's like,
DWAC.
Every single day we get this like Pat McAfee, and thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it, 8 Fathers. Pat McAfee just called out Fubo and called it the next Netflix. He says positive things about it all the time. It doesn't mean it moves the stock. It's not really moving right now. I don't know if it's going to, so I wanted to acknowledge it because we appreciate it. We don't ask for the super chat. The only thing we ever ask you is hit the like, hit the subscribe, and that's so we can grow the community. We all get better the bigger the trading community is, the more brain power we have around it, the more we can learn from each other, the more we get symbols pointed out to us. I hadn't looked at Netflix until it got pointed out in the chat. And that's the value that we can have around here. So that's what it's all about. We got another one asking about hidden orders. Do we use hidden orders? I actually don't. I can't remember the last time I used an iceberg or a hidden order. Actually, no, I do remember. It was years ago trading a penny stock. Like years and years ago, I was trading a penny stock, and I think I used like an iceberg order to get out of a position. But no, we don't really use them as day traders. They're obviously heavily used, orders that don't sit in the actual book to be viewed, and then whether they're dark or just iceberg orders, we can use them, we have them, but I don't really know anybody that does. I don't know if you do.
Well, yeah, I know lots of people that do, but it's the same way. It's you got to have reasons to do that, whether or not you're trading with bigger size or something like that. For me, I've never really found that, you know, size has influenced stocks, especially nowadays, and especially the ones that I'm using, right? Back in the day when there was as many dark pools and stuff, then you could look and say, oh my God, there's 100,000 shares right on the bid, but there's pretty much 100,000 shares on every bid of every stock. I mean, of the big caps, it can just be there and you wouldn't even notice, and then it prints right through and you're just like, what happened? So, nah, and we also do have, like, listen to this, like today I've made, like we talked about it, I've made over 280 fills, so I've gotten filled over 280 different times. I'm actually not paying any fees. Most of my fills have been adding liquidity, just like here on DWAC, right? So if I sit there using the ARC, I mean, I'll tell you, I use ARCA a lot. So if I'm sitting there on ARCA right here, like this ARCA gateway, and you get filled at 21, you get $2 roughly. I think it's $2.20. It changes all the time, so don't quote me on that. But you know, you're going to get $2 per 1,000 shares every time you get filled. So you know, when DWAC rips up here, and I paid for that fill because it broke 18. So I marketed into this one. So I pay for that fill, but then I get the rate back by adding liquidity. This is not our orders getting routed. This is not like pay for order flow or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. I'm putting my order right here into the market so everybody could see it. Then when it gets lifted out of the market, that's when the fees come in, right? So it's not pay for order flow. It has nothing to do with that. We're not connected at all for pay for order flow with ARCA or anything like that when I'm talking about lit gateways. So we get paid, and today I'm earning a rebate for my trading. So that's just how it goes here, and that's what that is. So we got filled on DWAC, so we changed our order. Look, we're right up to 50. We got it. We actually got a 46. So the fill was at 46. We got that. Now it's dropping back down. JP Morgan made a little bit of a bounce back up. We only have 10 minutes until those very nasty imbalances. What's up?
Beyond Meat, guys, actually popping up on this, but job cuts apparently coming fairly shortly for BYND. So a volume spike just happened there.
Oh,
Job
look at that.
cuts. Okay, well that's what sparked my Intel trade yesterday, where we took that good trade there off Intel. I know you have it today, obviously on CPI and stuff like that, but Intel did move on something similar yesterday, so wouldn't be a surprise to see the meatless company here. I mean, I hope they cut that guy's job who was eating noses there that one day.
What the?
That was the CFO, so that guy, he gone, I guess. He's probably. He's probably like on a leave of absence.
Did they suspend him? Or I think they
right now with
suspended
pay probably. No, I don't want to say. I don't know.
I actually don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. There could be mental health issues. Like I have no idea, so I'm not going to talk about that. But as you guys all know, that was something that had sent Beyond Meat down to the downside there. When I believe it was their CFO took a chunk out of somebody at a
it was a college football
tailgating
game
party.
And then there was like a fender bender, and then, allegedly. Anyways, it actually broke down 15 a couple of minutes ago and is now bouncing from there. So below 15 looks like that'll be an actionable level. I mean, with imbalances coming in 9 minutes, I don't know if I want anything new, to be honest with you. I'll trail out of Intel. I'm going to hang on to Zoom. I think that's good to at least fall down into VWAP here. And then the same thing with UVXY. I know a couple people in the chat were saying, not bad in UVXY, but I actually my problem with this trade is that I didn't believe in it enough. When that level holds, here's the other aspect of this. Like, I always draw these lines on UVXY, and I leave these channels in once I feel pretty good about them. So I actually had these two channels going into today. And one of the reasons I liked some of those longs was we could not, as we're making fresh lows on that CPI number, volatility wouldn't budge. And then one of the reasons why I was looking for the market to reverse here was the same thing. We just held the low since noon. Like, look at how much the market ran up since noon, and volatility was not going any lower. Held that support, so I kind of felt this was kind of a no-brainer risk to reward, but it couldn't get to VWAP, and it's going to reject it now, and I got to get out. Sean and I have to be, and any trader at Day Trade in the world, actually, it's not just us, we have to cover our positions by the end of the day. It's day trading. So regardless of where it is or what I think it could do tomorrow or overnight, doesn't matter. We do have to get out of these positions. And I remember the only reason why I used a hidden order last time, it wasn't even for, the reason was I actually accidentally I keystroked into this penny stock for 10 times as many shares as I wanted and then got filled. And then when I was in it, I was like, I can't show that size to get out of the position. So I was using iceberg orders to get out of it. So it was kind of in a panic state that I was doing it. And this is years and years ago. I don't remember the name of the stock, but it was like a 25-cent stock that had a 5-cent range. And I was like, I don't want to lose the 5-cent range, was basically the gist of it. But again, most day traders I know wouldn't use that kind of a thing. I don't know what happened to the position board just there. But I am still in UVXY, a small piece, looking for VWAP. I'm still in Zoom to the short side there. And then, of course, I had that intel, which refuses to trail me out. But those imbalances come out, and they come big. They can move the market. As a matter of fact, if we get back below this 70 on UVXY, I should just take the last of it out. Looks like it might be done. Didn't quite get up to 13 there, which I was looking for. But that support was still good.
Yeah, you guys are right, man. Blazing those J's when the market is done. Someone just said Tilray is mooning right now. Nah, it ain't mooning.
What?
But it's trying to go up the side a little bit. I mean, it's a nice little shot there. Nice moon from the bottom, I guess. A nice up 10% there. Bottom today to, let's call it 290, up to 330. So yeah, that's 30 cents on $3. 10% move to the upside today from the bottom on Tilray. So man, I took 2 Advils. Like, I got a headache. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's low ceiling again, but I just feel like I'm talking too much here. And I have
It's been
like
raining all day. Well,
I have like
it's
a
been
major
overcast all
event.
day.
Like, I'm going to that wrestling thing. It's going to be nuts there tonight. Hopefully, have a couple pops, but be back tomorrow for Friday. It should be a lot of fun.
You going with your bro? Is Tim bro?
Yeah, no, just my bro. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun time there at Coca-Cola Center, I think it is, near the exhibition. If any of you guys are going to be there, look for me. I will be there as well. Should be a fun event. My brother's like big into that wrestling stuff. I'm going to take the kids to a WWE event in December.
I was going to say, that's like...
this is AEW.
That's
so it's
WrestleMania in December.
No.
When's WrestleMania then?
That's in and around Super Bowl. So it's like...
Oh, so it's in the New Year. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the New Year. I think it's around... I think it's April, actually.
Oh, it's that late?
Most of the time, yeah. Royal Rumble's in January.
Yeah, I haven't...
Because the winner of the Rumble normally faces somebody. But I don't know anything. I haven't watched wrestling in so long.
I know. I've been out of it for like 2 decades, but I wasn't
man.
doing it. But I just looked at Tilray and...
My all-time favorite wrestler? Anyways, you go ahead about Tilray.
No, I was going to say, well, I looked at Tilray. Look at this level that it's at, just barcoding at 325, 330, and then look at the 15-minute. That's not a bad breakout. It's too late in the day to take this, but if this is here tomorrow, I like that consolidation break, just on a technical standpoint, like a 330 level. And my favorite wrestler of all time, I say it every single time, so if you watch the show long enough, Norman Smiley. The best jobber in the history of wrestling. That's all. He's professional wrestling. And a jobber is just a guy that goes in and essentially they just lose to the stars.
I'm going to say, yeah, Norman Smiley's great, but...
Who's a better jobber than him?
The thing about Norman Smiley is he actually, at WCW, he won, I think he held a belt or two.
Because he was so famous as a jobber that they finally elevated him higher. Yeah.
I agree with Norman Smiley, but I'm going to have to say that the biggest of all time would be Barry Horowitz.
Okay,
that could be there.
That's fair.
I have so many favorite wrestlers. Like I really used to like Kurt Angle as a wrestler. I like Razor Ramon, just passed away as well. I mean, I think that a lot of these guys are just so classic, and that's when I was watching wrestling back there. I've been to wrestling. The best. I mean, I was at the WrestleMania where it was The Rock versus Hogan at Skydome, and it was Triple H versus Ric Flair and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's not going to get, for me, it doesn't get any better. Like The Rock versus Hogan, and Hogan was a heel. It was so crazy because they wanted everybody to boo Hogan, but Hogan's not getting booed in Toronto. He was getting booed everywhere, but like when he comes back here to, basically there's 2 meccas of wrestling. You guys can agree or disagree, but Madison Square Gardens is #1, and then any kind of, I mean, ask if you know people in professional wrestling, Toronto is absolutely huge for professional wrestling. It's still huge down south too. So I think Ric Flair's from Florida, but there's a lot of wrestling down south. So I'm not going to say that, but the mecca of wrestling, where Raw is War and all that kind of started, Madison Square Gardens, fantastic. But yeah, some of that. I mean, it's hard to disrespect Mick Foley and some of those guys. My wife's favorite wrestler is The Undertaker. Mark Calloway is his name. So shout out to that as well. But as you can see, I can go on. Yeah, I mean, Roddy Piper. I still have my Austin.
Bret Hart, baby.
And we haven't even talked about Canada. Like, I still have my Austin 316 shirt at home. Maybe I'll throw that on today when I go to this event. But okay, should be a lot of fun.
So I just did this, and I'm out of intel. It cannot break this channel. The market is not breaking the channel. It's 348 and bounces in 2 minutes, so it doesn't break 50. It's inside. I might as well just take the 40s. I'll come back to this tomorrow. I think, you know, anything that had this kind of strength, you look for the support levels that held, and as long as they hold, I think we'll look for longs off those. But the imbalance is in about 2 minutes. I'll hold UVXY, but my trail is like a couple of cents down here. And Zoom, my stop has never moved, but I am going to tighten it here. I've basically kept the same stop on Zoom at that high that it put in, the lower high, not this high here. But I'll tighten it up to break even, essentially. So, you know, if Zoom doesn't want to get through that 20 level, I'll just get out of that. But try to hold it in for another push to the downside. I might give it to VWAP. I should just cancel the bid that's close. And if the market does want to pull back in and give some back, I'll at least have this on.
Wow, those Austin shirts go for $1.25 these days, eh? Wow, okay, I still
Can't sell that.
I would never sell. Mine has rips in it and everything. Like, I've been wearing that thing forever. Yeah, I am cooking. You're right, guys. David Lewis, if you smell what the rock. And someone, I'm going to find that picture we did have when I was, that's why I sort of was like self-proclaimed the people's trader. It was because of the rock, and you guys obviously know that. So the rock is awesome. I mean, you know who else? This is the other thing. I mean, I could talk about this forever. I could talk about lots of things forever, as you can probably tell. But John Cena owns the record for the most Make-A-Wish Foundation appearances. John Cena, the most Make-A-Wish Foundation appearance. No. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. Well, he married Stephanie McMahon, yeah. So, yeah, Triple H married to Stephanie McMahon. So, all right, let's just get going here. JP Morgan, we got out. We only have 30 seconds until those imbalances. Look how low this went to, 108.66 or so. So, you got to be careful for those ones. I put a bid down here. Let's wait to see what this imbalance does right now in only 20 seconds. I'm just going to get my orders set out here. We have JP Morgan and DWAC. DWAC now more than 50 cents in the money and trying to go upside. I'm going to stick an order at 19.
Yeah, so about 10 seconds. I have the imbalances up here, and there's one stock that if it comes as an imbalance, I want to make sure we talk about because it's the ugliest looking chart I could find on the daily. And we never mentioned XPeng all day today, but oh goodness, XPeng. But here they come immediately. BAC 1.6 to sell side. Cisco 1 million to sell. Apple is 500,000 to the sell side. It looks like we're mostly sell imbalances here. Microsoft, 500,000 to the sell side. Citigroup's going to be a sell. So everything I'm looking at is actual sell side, but nothing gigantic outside of a couple of the banks. Oh, sorry, no, wait a minute. Yeah, just a couple of the banks, really. Okay. I'm going to hold on to Zoom here, but there you go.
Brad found this right here. I guess you just got to search it on Twitter right there, the People's Trader. Thank you guys for this. So yeah, this is my body, but someone put some spray tan on it. No, that's not. Okay, so let's go on that one. That is the People's Trader. Thank you for that, Pradley, on that one. All right, 350. So I know you just went over some of those imbalances there. I'm going to get rid of NYSE ARCA so we don't have to worry about it and just see the big ones here. So whenever you see odd ones like that, there might be some rebalancing or something happening with HBAN, or maybe it's being bought out. I don't know. I also don't know what LU is. I feel like I should. That used to be, oh man, this is a real throwback. That used to be Lucent Technologies.
It's not.
No, of course it's not anymore. That's gone the way of RIM. Google nice buy side on Google. So wow, Google's back to $100 right now. That's a good one. Where did I get out? I mean, my Google trades aren't even showing up. Oh, because Google is what I traded.
Google. We trade
I was like,
Google.
what the? Okay. I was like, Google's not at $100, is it? Let me see. No, it must be lower.
99.
One has, so it's close. One has the voting rights and one doesn't. Microsoft, Apple on there, as Neil just mentioned. Not major sells. I mean, normally 600,000 would be something, but Apple's way above its average daily volume. Apple looks like it'll touch 100 million shares today. I don't even know what its average volume is, but it's nowhere near that. So that's a nice little move. And again, that's not affecting anything. If anything, Apple is saying, oh, that's all that wants to sell. Let's go back up to the upside now, breaking back above to hitting that high. So wow, I'm exhausted. There's a lot of trades, a lot of ideas, a lot of mental capital spent today. So it's good to kill some brain cells there at that wrestling event tonight. But
well, you'll have more fun because there's not even a good football game on tonight. So
yeah, I have David Montgomery in our pool going. Whatever, the guy's 18 pool points a game.
We'll
see if he doesn't get hurt on the first drive.
I got suckered into. I heard a stat that someone broke down the math and said that last garbage Thursday night game, because it was horrible.
Yeah, it was 9-6 with a minute left.
That if you ran the math, Amazon paid $77 million for the rights to air that game. Well, they're following it up with I mean, Washington, and apologies to anyone that's actually a fan of Washington or the Bears.
It's not Washington, it's the Bears that are the problem.
But they're just not good teams. The Bears are they're not fun to watch.
Right.
So I like Thursday night football. When I put my daughter down, I try to catch it as much as I can before I go to sleep, and it's like, I'm not going to do it because I have nobody going in fantasy, and that's most of the reason why I watch the teams I don't care about. But yeah, Google, I mean, it is going up on that imbalance. So, and I'm looking at Google as well. $100, man. 100 on a break tomorrow. That's in play. Why not? Like, we'll be watching that level to be sure, but I need to get out of some things because it's getting late in the session. So bye-bye, UVXY. I'll come back to you tomorrow, hopefully, and Zoom probably any second now. I love the Jose's like, Art Monk was the GOAT. Art Monk from Washington back in the day, legend wide receiver. But those are those times where it's a bit of a touchy subject because if you know I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, and the 2 times they should have won the Super Bowl was clearly it was the Giants in Washington they should have beat. I'm not here trying to tell you they should have beat the Dallas Cowboys because that was ridiculous. That team was probably better than us. But we darn sure should have beat Washington back in those days.
Any given Sunday, man.
That's the problem.
Any given Sunday.
Bills Nation, love you, Jim Kelly, but
They should make a movie like that. Any given Sunday, they should make a movie with that title and all that stuff.
that would be genius.
That would be a good idea.
I love that speech, by the way. That's one of the greatest movie.
Yeah, it's
like,
a great movie. I'm gonna.
The Inches speech.
As soon as my kids are able to. I mean, I think there's a lot of bad language in that, if I don't remember correctly.
Oh, you can't.
Jamie
Kids
Foxx.
can't watch that.
No, I don't know.
I'm out of Zoom
Not
too,
yet. Okay, JP Morgan comes down. We get out of that one, so that's going to be a nice little win for JP Morgan. And then we also got out of DWAC when it broke through right there and touched that 50 periods. We got out at 30 right there on DWAC after an 18. So 18 long, first out 46. We waited for 19. Came close, man. It went to 75, and then it broke back down lower. And again, it's kind of like not anything real on that one. And now we are flat to like end the day. So really couldn't be happier with some of these movements. Is JP
no,
Morgan?
wait, Apple just made a fresh high.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying.
What the-
Like the market came close there. Apple's going to flip around on that. So JP Morgan, nice downside move. I mean, good shorts today, good longs, great day. My best day of the month. What's up, Brendo?
Let's get some earnings, guys. Heading into tomorrow, obviously Friday, end of the week, going to be another exciting day, obviously, with the volatility that we've had. But here's what's to come before the market open tomorrow, obviously. A ton more next week, it's worth mentioning. We get Tesla, we get Netflix, just to name a few coming up next week as well.
Oh, next week, Netflix.
Yeah, next week we get the big tech, but it's about the banks right now. Morgan Stanley, JP, Citi, Wells. They're all, and the thing about the morning is, remember this, I say this every single time because one of the best things about this community is you get to learn not just from like successes, but from mistakes as well. I made the mistake of trading a bank in the morning when it had the earnings call on and I wasn't listening to the call. And it's like, well, why did it just do that crazy spike? My stop didn't even hit because it moved so much. It's because the earnings call's on, idiot. So just obviously, you're going to get the earnings calls coming in the morning. So all of those are going to be in play. And then United Health is not going to be very tradable. Strong day today, but like a $500 stock. We pretty much never day trade that one. And I don't think we would unless it did a split. The volume's never really there, and the liquidity is just non-existent. A $500 stock to trade it as a day trader has to have a lot of liquidity and volume, which UNH never really does.
So you might see Prad walking around in the background with his red shirt on. As soon as I saw that, I told him he was the wrong color there today. So please, next time, wear it again. And that way I'll know that this market is going to completely rally. You did, man. That's
not just red.
That's like...
That's blood
that's
red.
Red, man.
It's
That's
blood
like
red.
That's red. But whatever. That's a good. And I know Prad made some money on that short on the CPI, as I'm hoping all of you did. That was a pretty clean move to the downside, man, on that number. You can see the NASDAQ right here. I mean, it's really battled like ridiculously back. There it is right there. I gave you lots of opportunities. I know it's a straight line down, but trust me, like every single person behind us had a short, and there was definite opportunities to have that. So we were short, we got out and covered, and then you saw this move back up to the upside, which is why we're pretty happy with the performances here today. NASDAQ up that 2.3%, but yeah, thanks again for joining us. I mean, how many... I keep asking, we need to get that likes animation. I hope we get that at some point right now. Where are we, man? 1.1K. I give up. So whatever, 1.1K. You guys can hit that like button. That'd be great. If you don't want, you don't have to. Over 5,000 people watching right now. If I don't ask, it doesn't get done. So hopefully you guys can get that going. We asked for it in the morning show. We went from 1.6 to 3K.
We were 7 and asked, and we got to 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we can get upside right now. We were here live at 8:25 today. So it's been a long day. Really happy with it, man. Watch out for Bitcoin back through 20 at some point, maybe tonight. But it's going to be good.
Only because someone put this in the chat. I'm like, I love it when you guys holler out things that are worth watching for tomorrow. Because that's what's the best thing about the community. I say it every single time. Uber down 3.5%, still down because it never went green today. I think it barely, maybe it tried for like 3 seconds to go green, but it's red, didn't get green, now testing 25. So relative weakness is already embedded in Uber after it made that crazy move a couple of days ago. So come back to this and Lyft. I'm assuming Lyft's probably down as well, but this could be a big one tomorrow. If we're below that 25, I mean, you guys know what happened over the last couple of days. For it not to get out of the bottom of that channel when the market made that kind of a rally, that's not exactly a good sign. So it doesn't really bode well for Uber tomorrow. If we see a red day, you might be led by this in Lyft.
Yeah, the only thing to watch tomorrow is going to be the banks. I mean, the banks are a disaster pretty much. I don't, it's like the last bank earnings. The only bank name I think that went up was Citigroup, and it went up like crazy. So there are going to be some opportunities tomorrow to trade those names. JP Morgan didn't break 110 today. We shorted it both times up there. So I feel like that's going to be something to look at. It won't be here tomorrow. It'll be, I mean, I think it'll be 3 or 4% move one way or the other on the banks. We'll just see what they have to say. And I mean, JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, he just could be rug pulling everybody. He's been talking about recession and disaster strikes and this and that. And even more talk today. And you watch what his bank numbers are going to be tomorrow. I mean, whether or not he's buying in his own account, we'll never find that out probably. But still, nice move here on the upside for the banks today. Basically 9% from that bottom. The bottom was 101. You're going to close at 109. So a big move upside right there. I guess that's 8%, but nice move to the upside. Now, as we only have 10 seconds left, and then I can just relax for a bit. There
Tony's on the belt, but there's somebody hiding. There it is. In 3, 2, and 1. I wonder who that was.
It's a Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes. Oh, and I put
right
this in
there.
the chat, but we didn't mention this. So we talked about Fahad having a bit of a match there with Lucas one-on-one. Fahad was talking about it was going to be 11-0 guaranteed. Yeah, it was 11-zip. And I've seen the footage. I don't know why we didn't put us some. Look,
There's one highlight of Fahad.
there's like 5 or maybe 10. There's a lot of highlights.
There's one highlight of Fahad just dribbling, and then he just dribbles right by Lucas and lays it up. Like, I was like, was Lucas tired? And he's like, no, that was like the first 3 points or something like that. So
There wasn't a lot of defense on Lucas's part. But
no, not a lot of D, but yeah, he won. We're still waiting for that.
Fahad can play. He can play. He's got game.
Yeah, for sure.
I said he's got
I
game.
hope that he could hit those. We have to do that free throw challenge.
His shot looked nice,
there
but he's
as
still
well.
not hitting 93% foul shots. That's ridiculous. I don't care how nice his jump shot is. You're not doing it.
You're not even hitting close to that. All right, go Timberwolves. Yeah, they took down the Lakers, LeBron James Lakers. I don't even know if that guy's, I guess he's playing. I didn't watch any highlights there yesterday. You know, it just takes time. Did he take a day off the very first game? But no. All right. Let's go, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, Bro Voice, man, I'll be your mentor. No problem. Thank you so much for saying that in the chat. I hope you guys took a lot of lessons today from trading. So let's go over there to Brendan and see what that big board looks like.
Very nice look for the big board today. To wrap things up, guys, what a reversal off of what we saw happen first thing this morning. Remember, this was all red, about the same numbers, but all red. Right after that CPI note. So almost 3% there for the Dow. Leading the way, 2.6, 2.2 for the NASDAQ. So pretty impressive right across the board.
Yeah, I mean, look, everything across the board. Crypto as well, making that strong move to the upside, closing at the highs, which pretty much everything did. You always like to see that, but we've seen this story before. It's worth mentioning that pretty much every time we get a big CPI, it's been the same thing. You get a reverse. It's the same thing with the rate hike. We've seen it before, and a lot of times it does not last more than a couple days. That'll be the real test. If the earnings come in Does this move get reinforced by positive earnings? Because if that's the case, then you can get a real solid bounce back to the upside. So we'll start with the banks. The next week we get the big names, right? Netflix will be a big one. Of course, Netflix had that news as well.
All right, guys. Lots of things going to be happening over the next couple days, for sure. We're super excited about it. The trade of the day is AMD. I want to give a big thank you to everybody watching today. Thanks for the likes. I mean, I think we got to. I mean, I just asked, and you guys basically just put up 50% more likes. So thank you so much for that one, from 1,000 to 1.5K. So that means a lot for us. And we'll say, someone said go Padres. We'll also say go Dodgers. That should be a good series. I think all the series
I need a team.
should be pretty good right now. My team's going to be the Padres.
Just pick.
I
love
got Juan Soto, and then we got
Soto.
that Fernando Tatis.
He's not. Tatis isn't.
No,
back
he's not
though.
playing, and that's why I feel.
I love that guy.
Kind of feel sad for them. Yeah, well. I love people too, but when you're taking drugs, you deserve to get busted. So there's that, right? So that is Fernando Tatis, what, twice? Come on, bro.
That's the problem.
You not only that, you signed, what, a $400 million deal, and you're still taking the drugs? Crazy.
They got some great pitch. I love watching this Joe Musgrove.
Yes. Who did you see what they did with his ears the other day?
Yeah,
that was pretty
man.
funny.
It was kind of
right there. But
Yeah,
enjoy
Padres.
Enjoy that. Padres are going to be my team, and then also the Mariners, because they destroyed the Blue Jays. So, all right, let's go. I got to get out of here. It should be a fun night for me. I hope it's a fun night for everybody as well out there. So thank you for joining one more time. For everybody here at Trader TV Live, we'll catch you tomorrow, 8:30. Have a good one. Ciao.
See you guys.